I've been doing.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dice Tower's continual coverage of the World Series of Board Gaming. My name's Chris Yee.
I'm Connie Vogelman.
And I'm Jonathan Hagmeyer.
If you're not familiar with Connie Vogelman, she's the designer of Wormspan, which has been featured. I didn't realize we were.
I cheer for Connie every day.
Oh, I thought that was a threat.
Oh, no, not at all. I'm like, she's a rock star.
Connie's fantastic. We've gotten a chance to play some games together during the downtime, and thank you for joining me for commentating today.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I love Castles of Burgundy, and I'm super excited to see and commentate this really high level of play.
Nice. And John, Mr. President, yourself of the World Series of Board Gaming, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, I'm glad I'm here. It's pretty exciting. Been an exciting first half. It's been really crazy, and I say that from the aspect of I know you guys just watched the Heat final. That was just an amazing final. We're having new ring winners every time. Our former champions, many of them haven't made it past the second round. And it's because the level play, we'll say it's because of BGA is another reason. I think the board gaming community is growing and growing and growing. And because of amazing people like Connie that make amazing games. And yeah, we're just really excited. And I would even say the Phoenix games, which those are the games that if you lose in the first round of the main event, you can buy a small buy-in to win some cash. We've given almost in 2 days up near $7,000 now, so which is pretty insane. That's just in cash. That's just like little side events, small little things, but there's so many of them now. It's amazing.
Well, fantastic. It's been going great from everything that I've seen, and I'm excited to see what our four finalists here are going to be bringing to the table.
Yes.
Anything else before we kind of get started with that?
You know, I would tell you to go on and buy your tickets. The cheapest you can get them right now, or will be for the next 365 days, will be between now and October 1st. To go get your stay and play, and the first 100 stay and plays get a 1-year membership into BGA on the premium level. So it's a win-win, and yeah, I would say next year is going to be incredible. The publishers are 100% behind what's happening, and they're going to do some special things next year, and we'll start announcing that actually tomorrow. So
very cool. We'll look forward to that.
Yep. Well, hey, I got to go help 3 former ring winners get ready for tomorrow to play some games, because they need somebody like me to coach them through on what actually not to do. I will tell you.
I believe that 100%.
I just want you to know, I think Nick Henning's heading to a final right now for what game? Arnak, Lost Ruins of Arnak, and
Right.
I know he's won, I think, 64 rings or some stupid number like that. But I think I can sit down and help him with some strategy of actually everything that comes out of my mouth will be something that he should never, ever do. And so I'm going to go do that. Have fun doing that. Thank you, guys. Thank you once again for doing this. And I know the people online love what you guys do, and they get to see a great game. So have a great night.
All right. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you.
All right. Are we? I think that we're ready to cut over to the table and see our four finalists here. So seated around the table. Now, if I'm correct, I think position 1 is what.
All right, players, you may place your
usually
castles,
referred
and then we
to
will begin.
bottom right seat where John
Simultaneous castle placement.
if I remember correctly, so kind of going around here. Simultaneously, one of the important decisions,
Okay,
and you were
and
just
then
talking
let's go
about
ahead
this,
and start
Connie,
flipping the
especially
tiles
with a map
from
like
one.
this. Where do you start with your first
Yellow
castle?
first. Our
Yeah,
first
well, I think it's a
monastery
really, really
is
interesting decision,
6.
and it really depends on your
Go ahead and flip
because a
all
map
the
like this,
ones.
the several of the castle spaces right around the edges.
cows.
And I think one
Number
of the
2
most
monastery
critical parts
is
in Castles of Burgundy is the
13.
very beginning, sort of your first dice roll.
Only
It's
tell
one
me
of the
if I'm
times
wrong.
that you are most constrained in your options. So by having a castle that
3
on the
is
edges,
26.
you're sort of constraining yourself to a very particular strategy right
and flip 4.
up the top of the game. And I think some of that really plays into your turn order. I mean, how many workers do you start out with? Are you going to be able to have
monastery on
those
number
scarce
5
mines in
is
the first
22.
round, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, and so yeah, that starting location. If you're not familiar with Castles of
black line
Burgundy
from
by
the top
chance,
left.
and
Nope.
a lot of people here
Awesome.
watching are
Monastery
very high
15.
level players, and you might not even be aware that a big thing that you're doing is you have to you pick one of the dark green spaces. That's your starting castle. Everything else, you're rolling dice to draft tiles from around the outside of that board, the central board there, and then you're using those dice to also place them around it, and you have to keep those options open. I love your point that
Yellow 2 is
certain types of tiles have more rarity than others.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, and you know, I mentioned the mines. You know, those are a common tile that I think just about every player will grab if they have easy access to at the beginning of the game. Those produce silverlings, which is essentially the currency of the game, which you can use to essentially get free actions over the course of the game. You can buy extra tiles. So you can sort of see that the first two players, I think the players in the first and the second seat both went with the bottommost space on the board for their castle placement, and those are both next to those mine spaces. I think it's really interesting that I think the third and the fourth player chose a different location, probably presuming that those mine locations would be gone, those mines would be gone. I believe there's only 2 out in a 4-player game.
And they picked these simultaneously too, so it's not that they were reactionary to say, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. They have to kind of assume, I'm third or fourth in turn order.
Right.
You know, if you get to here, like the finals table, you probably have to be able to read those situations pretty well.
Absolutely. One thing I know for me in castles that I'm really hoping to not see right at the beginning of the game is doubles, and it looks like our player in the first seat did roll doubles. That's just a little bit extra restrictive at the beginning of the game, especially because in the first seat you only have one worker to work with. All of a sudden your options are very, very constrained.
Yeah, and so workers are going to be that dice mitigation, that flexibility. And so, yeah, it does hurt to see doubles, especially so early, because you want to be able to draft from anywhere around that table setting. That one is rough because the gray tile is there sitting in the number 5 draft area and the number 4. Rolling double ones is pretty much as bad as you can do.
And one thing that I did want to call out too before we got too far along, for folks who play Castles of Burgundy a lot at home, this is obviously going to be look a little bit different because folks are all playing on the same map. That's pretty common in tournament play. You know, the different maps have basically very highly variant ceilings in terms of how many points you can get from each map. So by leveling that, it sort of levels the playing field to a large extent in the game.
Yeah, yeah, I've played some games where people can take whatever maps they want, you know, and some people have favorite maps. We had a good chance to sit down with each of these fellows before the game started and kind of ask them if they had preferred maps, and all of them pretty much said, I think something that you point out very much so, that this is a very tactical game. You just kind of play it as the dice come out, play it as the board allows. So none of them seem to have like all my hopes are dashed if map 6 comes out. So.
Right, which is interesting because I do think some of the maps have very sort of different strategic pathways. I mean, there's a map that requires, so there's 8 different types of buildings. Unless you have a specific type of technology, you can only have one of each building in each of those sort of brown building spaces. There's one map, for instance, that has an 8 space, and so the only way to fill that, which gives you an incredible amount of points, is to get one of each building types. And so that really informs your strategy from the very beginning of the game. I think this map that they're playing on now is pretty balanced. You have, you know, a couple of fair, you know, medium-sized building spaces, a good distribution of a lot of, you know, the other kind of types of spaces around the board. One thing that I do think is interesting as well is you kind of have the yellow spaces, the text, sort of in the upper right-hand corner and then along the right side, which is interesting because all of the players started with their castles sort of toward the left side. It's going to potentially take a long time to work around to those one spaces, which are often spaces that you want to fill early in the game.
Yeah, no, that is a good point. No one started with the. Oh, that's funny. I think for camera, the boards are all facing the same direction. No. Okay, no, I got it. There's just individual yellow spaces on both corners of the map. They look rotationally symmetrical to me. So.
All right. Excellent. Now we have a map in front of us that is in the appropriate orientation, so thank you. And it's map 9, I believe.
Map 9 is what they're playing on.
Three and a worker, I'll take the other game. Four. Thank you.
Okay, taking early ships.
Worker pools are in the middle.
Thank you.
And if you're not familiar also with World Series of Board Gaming, just, you know, the way that they run tournament play here is that they have some very strict procedures to help keep things flowing nicely. A first player card, right, just to pass around to keep things kind of or active player card, depending on the game. They have those printed out player aids on the top there to help make sure that everything is accounted for easily, right? Payments out, incomes in.
Okay.
You're not gonna need it now, but
I just always kept it over there. But
One of the things that we were talking about, we were interviewing, each of the
what do you
the
mean? I'm not
finalists
gonna
right
be-
before the start, and we were talking a little bit about the ships in
I'm not gonna go over
particular.
100 or
So by
something.
placing ships in castles of Burgundy, you advance on the turn order track, which influences the turn for the for the duration. And one of the interesting things that Joey mentioned, who's I think the player in seat 4,
Or just every
Seat
Azul
4 in the
final,
top right
every
there,
Azul
yeah.
out of my
in
chest.
the top right, was basically talking about how sometimes you need to know when to cut your losses.
Because
The
of
boats
that,
are incredibly
I'm just
important. I mean,
like in
turn order is
the middle all day.
incredibly important in
Just
Castles
like
of Burgundy. I mean, it has to do with the tile, particularly going from one round to another when you get all of those tile
These three is
refreshes.
fun.
That's when a lot of your valuable tech tiles come out. And so, like, mitigating and managing that turn order throughout each round is incredibly important. One of the points that he made, which I think is very good, is you have to know when you're in it and when to cut your losses. He said he really likes boats. He wants to make sure to stay in it, and so by building in that, basically the monastery space that is by that 4 water space, that gives him the option to sort of maybe have control over that turn order, compared to the folks who started on the very bottom of their board. They're going to really have to work their way over to even be able to place a single boat in the first round of the game.
If you can get a nice step forward in turn order early in the game, it kind of feels daunting. It also feels like a challenge for other players to say, no, I really want to be first, especially at the end of a round when you refresh. And so it leads them into that moment. They say, do I chase this, or do I focus on the stuff that I'm already building?
Right.
So yeah, I really like that tension that comes from that.
I see somebody in the chat mentioned Denver representing, and yeah, 2 of our 4 finalists are from the Denver area, which is pretty great.
And I guess they've actually, not only are they from Denver, they're also in the same board game arena guild, so they play in person, they play online.
Yeah. Well, and the level of preparation of some of these players is truly incredible. I mean, they're playing year round in preparation, for this tournament, which is incredible.
Yeah, closing off some of those small, quick areas is pretty important, because the bonuses along shown on the top right of the main board there, they diminish. So as you close in and play all the tiles within one designated zone, you're gonna get 10 points off the bat. So even if you just close a 1 hexagon section, 10 points bonus plus the 1 point for closing off 1 sector there. So we see that, a couple of the players have already jumped out quick.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a perfect world, I mean, if everything was ideal in Castles of Burgundy, you would fill exactly every single one space in the first round, which, of course, is entirely plausible. And then, of course, for folks who haven't played a lot of castles, you do need to, once you start in a certain space, you need to build every other tile adjacent. So again, sort of figuring out how you're going to wind through your board is very, very critical.
Let's see.
So it looks like at least a couple of the players have picked up some of those yellow tech tiles. And we talked when we were talking with the players a few minutes ago, they basically all had different of those yellow tiles, I think, that are the most valuable, but they all seem to think that the yellows were very important parts of their game.
Because some of them are, about half of them are ongoing powers, about half of them are endgame scoring victory points. And so looking at the ones that, let's see, I'm trying to see, here on John's board,
I can't see which those are, unfortunately.
he already grabbed 2 tiles that are, let's see, so out of tiles, let's see, 6, 13, 26, and 22, I think, are the ones that we had in that opening setup there.
My suspicion is the one tile that he has that's being shown on the top screen. I believe that is points for different colored goods. It's one of the black tiles. It's in the middle. So basically, the tiles that come in the middle you have to buy with silverlings, so they're a little bit more expensive. That is commonly thought to be one of the strongest tiles in the game, if not the tile in the game, at least for endgame scoring. I believe there's 6 different colors of goods, and this one gives you Let me check the sheet here. I believe it's 3 points per different color good that you have shipped. 2 points per different color good you have shipped at the end of each game. So that's just a huge amount of extra points for doing things that you are already incentivized to do over the course of the game. So being early, being able to get that tile early is a very strong move.
I'll take a good.
To the point where,
Mustard.
he drafted those two, I believe, on his first turn or within the first 2 turns.
Coin.
One of the prevailing philosophies is ideally you would have all of the ongoing power yellow tiles, the monastery tiles, things that give you those additional silvers, the additional workers and stuff, rather than victory points. But if you can get ones that give you those good points, you know what you're working towards already, you're willing to take them from the start of the game.
Absolutely. And players begin the game with 1 silverling, and so basically every time you ship a good, you gain another silverling. So I do wonder, we missed it when we were sort of doing the initial introduction, but I wonder if he actually took one of his very first dice to sell one of his goods specifically to buy that tile out of the middle. Looks like the other yellow tile that he has is one of the ones that gives him 4 points for a different type of building. Which is going to be interesting because I don't actually know if this is a great map for that, because there are only 2 sections of building tiles, and so that means that he would really only be able to have 2 of that type of building, unless he of course gets the tech that allows him to place more than one of the same building type in a particular region.
And this is the type of map where that particular power is going to be so important, because otherwise, you're right, 4 points for every tower that you build, or 4 points for every.
I can't see which one it is.
Yeah.
And unfortunately it's not in our sheet here.
Yeah, but normally, because of the way the map's built, it's just 2 sections, right? You can't repeat building within there, like you're saying.
I use a 4.
So,
It's never mind. Oh, I'm so sorry. He has 26, which is the one that gives him 3 points per
Here.
what are they called? The tiles that you get. So every time, if you're the first person to complete a specific type of region, so if you're the first person to complete all of your buildings, you get essentially a victory point chip that gets you some extra victory points. This tile gives you 3 points for each one of those bonus tiles that you have. So he really jumped out with a very strong 2 scoring tiles at the very beginning of the game.
and what I find interesting about that is that John, when we asked him what are some of your preferred monastery tiles, he actually said that he preferred the 4 points per buildings of type, but that was before he got to see what the map was. So I wonder if he pivoted, because those are actually the tiles that Dawn and Jim
Yep.
both pointed out as kind of their pet monasteries.
Yeah.
So knowing that, I wonder if they feel a little targeted.
And that's funny. One thing I wanted to call out too, it looks like Dawn has Monastery Tile 6, and this is actually one that they have errata for the WSBG. So Monastery Tile 6 is, I'm just going to say broken, the way that it's currently printed. The way that the tile is printed is that if you have that Monastery Tile, you're able to spend workers in place of silverlings. To buy tiles around the board. So essentially you could spend 2 workers to buy a hex tile from the game board. And the reason that that's really broken in play is that if you were to sell a worker tile, so basically every time you can always sell a dice for 2 workers, and there are some abilities that boost that. This basically allows you to turn a worker into picking up any tile around the board, which essentially negates that dice altogether. Why bother to have a dice at that point? Because you can turn any dice into any tile, at least when you're purchasing it. So the errata for the purposes of WSBG, it says once per turn you may spend 2 workers to buy any single beige building tile. So it basically nerfs that tech significantly. It's still worth picking up though early, as we see in this game.
And you can't purchase from the black market the central part of the board. That's still restricted to silverlings only. And so, yeah, it's still very viable. It's still a very important ability. As you said, depending on the map, maybe. I'm curious if they'll be leaning into buildings with such large building areas. But once again, completing a six size area is going to be a good amount of points.
Yeah, well, and even with those 6, with those 6 spaces, you still do have to be thinking about those types of buildings. I mean, if there are some types of buildings that tend to go very quickly in games, I mean, there's the building that gives you 4 workers, for instance, or the bank that gives you 2 silverlings. Those are often very, very highly sought after, and so you have to really be watching. And I'm sure these players are counting too. I mean, how many have come out, how many are left in the bag, things like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Joey selling one of his goods early on here. Yeah, we're still, I mean, just third turn within the first round of the game. When you play, do you tend to try to hoard, try to get a lot of the same number goods tile? That way you can sell a fat stack of them?
I don't at
you just
all.
rush 'em.
I mean, I'm just those silverlings. So every time you have 2 silverlings, you can buy a tile from the middle. So essentially a free dice placement. So I'm very impatient when I play. The other thing I'll mention too that I'm trying to do that I always try to do, and I'm kind of watching other players to see what they do, is kind of hoard boats for the end. So really, when you want to be placing a lot of your boats is at the very end of each round, because the turn order is so much more critical at the beginning. When you get that refresh, as opposed to the middle of the round.
Yeah. No, it can be brutal thinking that you're going to be first player at the start of another round, but you see someone take a boat and you say, well, there went that chance.
Yeah. Well, they're actually moving through this at a pretty good pace, especially for a final game. It seems like they're making their way through the first round very, 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 very quickly.
Yeah. No, I agree. There's a lot to consider, and one of the big considerations early on is making sure that you're setting yourself up for viable growth on that board.
Yep.
Nothing's worse than kind of saying, "Ooh, well, I can almost at this point only put out building tiles," and
Yep.
there sure can be a dearth of them at just the wrong moment.
Yeah. And one of the things that we're actually seeing now, which is a little bit interesting, is that the players actually haven't built all that much yet. I mean, they're really you can sort of see that they're depots, so you can store up to 3 tiles in your depot at once before you place them on your board. And you can see that the players' depots are very full at this point in the game, which makes a lot of sense because those tiles are contested in the middle area. And once you get them on your private board, they're reserved for you. So I think the kind of play pattern often is to really fill up those depots and then place your tiles later on. The kind of hazard of doing that, though, is then you are kind of risking your dice rolls a little bit too, especially if you don't have that many options. If you're sort of planning on at the end of the round rolling your 2 dice, placing 2 tiles, you better hope that your numbers work out and you've put yourself in a good position for that.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's when you talk about impatient, right? One of the areas where I'm impatient is like, well, I can build this.
Yep,
I can
yep.
put this tile out there right now. Great. I'm going to get something good out of it. Great.
Yep.
But let's see. But yeah, if you
Okay.
if you hoard those tiles, I say hoard as if that's a bad thing, but if
Yeah.
you're taking them, you are restricting what everyone else can do, and that is a huge part of the interaction of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Ideally, at the end of the round, you will go in. I mean, so what are you trying to do by the end of the first round? I think you want to do about 3 different things. You want to be first on the boat track.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have completed some regions, of course, but you want to go into the end of the third round with either silverlings or the mines to generate silverlings, so you can buy something from that market, from the central market, and you want to be able to, you want to have an empty depot. So in a perfect world, you roll your dice at the very beginning of the round, and what you want to do is pick up 2 tiles with 2 dice and then 1 more from the center. Take as many options as you possibly can from the other players.
That makes sense, right? It is a perfect world situation, like you're saying. But yeah, when just the right tile comes out, if you're going for, and we don't see anyone. Well, I think we have one of the animal farm tiles that have been taken.
Yep.
Just one by Joey up there in the top right player for it.
Yep. Well, and that makes sense too, though, because based on his starting castle, he is a little bit closer to that kind of 4 animal space.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a quick reminder, the way animals score is you want basically like similar animals to be in the same animal space. So basically, if you have cows, for instance, you want to place more cows in that space. So every animal you have scores each time you put a tile down. So the first one will score you 3 cows. For instance, then if you place a 4 tile on top of it, it would be 3 plus 4. Then if you place another one, it would be 3 plus 4 plus 2 more, etc. And so if you want to get those animals, especially in a 4-player game where these things can be very, very contested, getting them early is good because otherwise they'll kind of filter out of the deck and you won't have the chance to get them again.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if Joey's going to go for the farm strategy in the 2 hex space, the 6 and the 2 there.
Oh,
Oh,
there
okay,
we
that
go.
answers the
It's
question
going
right
for
there.
the 4. Well, it is a 4. It is a 4 tile. So obviously getting that 4 tile to score 4 times, I mean, just by itself, if he can pull that off, it's 16 points plus everything else, and the 4-space region, etc., etc. And, the other thing, too, to mention, and goes back to those bonus tiles, is that by starting in that upper space, he has easy access to both the 4-space animal space and to the 2 animal space. And so maybe he might be able to get that bonus tile on top of it as well.
And based on the other players' starting positions, they are nowhere near
Correct. Yeah.
any of the farm space, the animal spaces.
Yeah.
And so I know the higher player count game that you have, the more those things are going to be contested.
Yeah.
The farm animals in particular, because you would like to add, you start with a 4 and then add a 4 to it, ideally, right?
Right, of course. Well, and one of the interesting things, too, is Joey mentioned when we were talking to him before that he really likes playing Castles of Burgundy at 2 or 3 players. Things are a little bit less contested. I think you have a little bit more control over what you take. I think that's an interesting take, though, because one of the quirks in a 4-player game is that every single tile in the game comes out, at least in the base game. I'm not sure if there's extra expansions here, but at least in the base game, so you know that every building and every animal tile will come out. It can be tricky in a 2 or 3 player game to be like, all right, I'm going for cows. And those cows may or may not come out. So it's interesting here that you do know that all of the tiles will eventually come out. It's just a question of, can you work your way through it?
Okay, and now it looks like John is in the animal business.
Oh, all right. But he might be working toward that 2 space. It looks like he placed a building sort of moving down, kind of toward the bottom of his map. So maybe he's going for that 2 space. Shipping a couple goods. It looks like he has a mine, so he might be thinking that he wants to get 1 silverling now and put his mine down, perhaps. So that would give him an income of 1 silverling going into the second round of the game.
Right. And it's interesting because Castles of Burgundy is a game where I think the mines are pretty much the only source of income.
Yep.
There's a few of the monastery tiles that will also give you workers, if you can, from each of your mines as well, if you can combo that together. But outside of that is very little pure income building. And so, racing for those mines tends to be pretty competitive. Grabbing first player with a well-timed boat to grab a quick early mine that will pay off 3 times at least. It can be huge.
Yep. All right. It looks like there was a building just purchased from the central market with a couple of silverlings now. I believe. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Is. And I believe that is, yep, so that is the building that I believe lets you select another building. Is that correct? Yeah, so basically once you place that building, it allows you to take another building from around the edge of the board. I'm actually a little bit surprised in some ways that he bought that out of the center, but maybe he's thinking about that 6 space that he's next to, both trying to get those different types of buildings and also working his way across the map. And so he's probably feeling a little bit constrained now because as we talked about, those depots are getting pretty bare by this point in the round. And so having that extra flexibility, and maybe he'll kind of work his way across the board, sort of up and to the right to maybe get to some of those smaller spaces.
Yeah. The official sound of dice cups.
Someone was talking about earlier, I was playing in a heat earlier, and all of a sudden you could just hear rattle, 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 clack. And somebody just said, oh, it's the sound of Castles of Burgundy at WSBG. And I think it's a nice sound.
Have you ever had the chance to walk through the World Series of Poker? I don't know if John's going to come back in here for mentioning any other lesser World Series that might take place here in Las Vegas.
The lesser one.
But it was pretty amazing. I got a chance to walk through it one time, and just the sound of endless tables of people playing with their poker chips, fiddling in between turns. It sounds like you're walking through one of those rain sticks. You turn the stick over and just...
Oh, nicely done. That's very, very impressive for the first round. So you can sort of see
I agree.
that he basically worked his entire way up the left side of his board. Jim worked his way up the left side of the board and has basically already gotten to that second monastery spot on the left side of his board, or the second castle spot on the left side of his board.
It looks like he used his free action to grab... so every time you place a castle onto your board, you get a 1 through 6, basically, of your choice. And so he grabbed a tile with it, I believe is what it looks like.
And I'm so sorry, I said Jim, I meant Don, in the green shirt in the lower left-hand corner of your screen.
Don, who is one of the 2 Denverites, part of the Board Game Arena Board Game Fight Club, where they were actually both him and Jim are part of and do a lot of their plays ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, and one of the interesting things too is when we talked with him, basically Don said that he almost didn't participate in Castles of Burgundy. So I think he probably made a pretty good decision there, but he was really debating between this and Heat and actually didn't think that this was one of his stronger games. So.
There's a Ghirardelli next to In-N-Out.
Now, if you can't hear the very important table talk going on right now, they're talking about Las Vegas staples In-N-Out Burger and the Ghirardelli ice cream shop.
Yeah, it sounds like Joey is trying to bribe Don with chocolate, so pretty sure that's not in the rule book, but maybe we can find it if we look hard enough.
To be fair, I don't think Stefan Feld said you can't
That's true.
bribe with chocolate.
That's true.
And that includes the commentators.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, I have no morals. If you want me to say, wow, Joey is such a dominant, excellent player, and you pay me in Ghirardelli chocolate squares, I'm okay with this.
Yep. All right, so we're getting toward the end of the round, so makes sense that here's when the votes start coming out.
Yep.
And I should mention too that in Castles of Burgundy, when you move your boat up again, that's the turn order track. The last person to get that space is indeed the first player to go in the following round or within that stack, which is a real advantage to being later going into that final round. So basically, you can place your token on top of the stack, giving you first play moving forward.
It creates a more dynamic turn order
Absolutely.
system, and to the point where my game group, back actually when I was living here in Las Vegas. We called that felding. Anytime that a game had that kind of thing, the newest on top of the track,
Yep.
it was like, oh, you got felded.
Yep.
And no, it makes a lot of sense because you don't necessarily want to keep rewarding people who were able to do it earlier.
Right.
It creates more dynamism.
Yep. And also sort of as a game designer too, one of the things I always think about is like user interface and user experience. And so every once in a while I'll play a game that has the opposite turn order, where basically it's the first on the spot, which kind of creates an issue of either your token is on the bottom so you can't see it as easily, or you kind of have to rearrange all of the tiles every turn. And so I really actually love the elegance of this system where it's just, all right, can you see it? Is it on top? You go first.
I always look for that. That's the value of the dice.
Joey's trying to hand the active player card to the wrong person. Why isn't he taking this from me? But it makes me feel better that even expert level players are sometimes confusing player colors.
All right, the Silverling, or the mine comes down, makes a lot of sense. Basically, once you get that mine into your private depot, you don't have a lot of incentive to play it until the very end of the round when it's going to start producing. Again, though, to Chris's point, sometimes you roll a perfect dice earlier in the round and you have that decision of like, okay, I just rolled a 3. Do I place it now, or do I get greedy and try to take one more tile and hope to roll that 3 or something similar again?
And it ends up costing you 2 workers or something. Because
Yeah.
well, I'm going to play this mine before the end of the round. There's no way I'm going to forfeit that.
Yeah. Have we seen any of the players turn in a dice for workers yet? I don't think we have.
I thought I had seen that earlier.
Okay,
but
maybe we saw.
That might have been a spend.
Might have been Dawn. I think one of the things that you're trying to do when you're playing Castles of Burgundy is minimize the number of turns that it takes to do that. It's essentially a wasted turn over the course of the game, although it is very necessary. I mean, I think every once in a while you have that wonderful game where you don't have to do it at all. But it's always like, how many times do you have to do it, because it's so painful.
Right. We just saw John place out the building that lets him, as you pointed out earlier, grab a building from one of the other depots. And so that's always a nice feeling when you... anything like that just kind of feels like a free turn. It's interesting he placed it probably because of dice limitations in that spot there. not getting closer to the other thing. He's still surrounded only by building spaces, but
Yeah, yeah. Again, sometimes you just, and one of the things that we talked about with the players before this is like, what is your strategy going in? And pretty much all of them basically said, we go where the dice take us. And I think that's a really critical piece of Castles of Burgundy. I mean, you can go in with a perfect plan, and if the dice don't cooperate, the dice don't cooperate. So again, by placing that building out, even if it wasn't a perfect location, it's still a building out. It still opens up additional spots for him.
yeah, right, exactly. Having a 2, 5, and a 3 spot that he didn't have before.
Monastery number 5 in 1 position.
Okay.
So let's see. So we have
Go ahead and
Monastery
start filling
5
everything
that
out.
just came out.
I'll help the
Monastery 21 in the 2 position.
21.
So 5, when you
Monastery
play
1
ship tiles,
in the 3 position.
allows you to take goods, and you can also
Monastery
grab
8
adjacent
in the
goods.
5 position.
Yep. But the tricky thing with that one is you can still only ever hold 3 colors of goods at once. And so to be able to use that ability, you need to basically be able to line up your colors. So that one can be a little bit of a tricky one to use.
Oh, and actually, we were just talking. This is how serendipitous for this to come out this early in the game. Tile number 1 is the one that allows you to repeat buildings
Yep.
within one building group.
Yeah, and I would anticipate that on this map in particular, players might be going for that. Especially because again, if you pick up one of those scoring tiles, that's 4 points per building of a type, and you only have 2 building regions on this particular map. This might be a good map for that adjacency bonus.
Oh, I think so. I'll be curious to see if that gets taken kind of quickly or not. Also, Monastery tile number 8 allows you to, whenever you use a worker, oh, that's right, that allows you to add or subtract 2 to the value of the die. As you mentioned, every turn that you can minimize how often you need to take workers, it's a spent action that's kind of nothing in and of itself, but that makes your workers so much more enticing to get.
Yeah. Yeah, it was sort of funny. I remember this is just an anecdote from one of my earliest games of Castles of Burgundy. So I was playing it with my husband, and he was getting so frustrated because he couldn't get the dice quite right. We realized that he, at the very end of the game, that he wasn't wrapping his dice from 6 to 1 or 1 to 6,
no.
which is just so he was playing an entirely different game on hard mode than the rest of us are. But in Castles of Burgundy, every time you change a dice value, if it goes from 6 to 1 or 1 to 6, that is a legitimate part of the game.
And it's such a huge part of the game.
Yeah.
that-
Yeah. Yeah, he was playing. I think he still beat us all anyway, even on hard mode. So.
Well, that's
you know.
impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He seems like a very smart person.
Oh, yeah.
The games that we were able to play together. So.
Yeah.
For this game, it's like, I tell you what happened to Joey. I tell you, I hate it.
It's a very talkative finals table.
It is. It is. It's also moving much more quickly than I was expecting too. I was really expecting to see the players agonize a little bit more, but it seems like they've been making pretty good pace through the game.
You want to play a church? Nice.
Playing the church out allows you to grab a.
I believe that is the castle tech and animal
Mine.
and mine. I'm so
Because-
sorry. Yep, castle tech and mine. Yep.
Because that's what he took there.
Yep.
And that makes sense that he drafted a mine, played the church to be able to grab the other mine. Well, and that's enough to close off his 6-3 mine area there. And I wonder if he can get close enough to
get
to
the
maybe
last
be
mine.
to be the first
Yeah.
person to get all 3 of them out.
It's good. I mean, and if you can be the first one to get the mines too, then you're obviously playing a little bit of a different game than the rest of the players, because the rest of the players might still be trying to grab mines later on, and you don't need them anymore after you've gotten your 3, which sort of then frees you up to kind of take the next best
I
tile.
don't think mine's anymore. It does make the one last decision point.
Oh, see, there we go.
Couldn't have said it any better, Connie. And John parroting almost word for word. That is very. I'm sorry, I said John. I did mean Jim. This is Jim,
Jim.
up here that we're looking at. Interesting enough, Jim was let's see, he was in the finals table for Castles of Burgundy 2 years ago, when he lost to Angela, who ended up,
Yep.
not only winning the ring, but winning the bracelet, winning the whole thing
Yeah.
that year. And so he wasn't in Castles of Burgundy last year. This is his first time back, and he's here now back at the final table.
Well, and I think it was interesting too. We asked him basically what happened 2 years ago, and he remembered vividly the very particular. I mean, he said it was a mistake, but I think these games are complicated, and I think it's easy to assign something as a mistake where there's a lot of competing decisions. But he remembered very vividly that he tried to take a tile from Angela that then opened up another option for her, which ended up flipping a very, very close game.
Yeah. And what I find fascinating is at the World Series of Board Gaming, they sat they sat down and they calculated out what had happened if we had kind of played a little bit differently, flipped that one choice, and they're still clearly very friendly about it. And it's not a memory that seems to haunt him and drive vengeance, but more of a more of a friendly anecdote they get to share. Say, remember 2 years ago? You can see just from these players here, very, very jovial, very willing to talk, and it does help that both Don and Jim are, dare I say, friends? I assume at least compadres is maybe a safe word to use in their online game groups and online game groups and in-person game groups.
All right. So it looks like Jim just took Monastery 8, which is the one that we were referring to earlier that allows you to up or down, increase or decrease your workers twice. Don, I'm sorry. I should mention too, we have Don, Jim, John, and Joey, which is nice that they're all like short one-syllable names, but I do feel bad. I keep sort of mixing them up, and so I do very much apologize.
There's a Venn diagram here of Don, John, Jim, particularly.
Oh, did he just spend 4 workers? No, he gained 4 workers. Okay.
Gained 4 workers. Okay.
So as you can see, the players are sort of, we mentioned this briefly at the beginning, but they have basically very distinct dice spots, and then they have specific spaces on their board for when they gain and when they lose items. One thing I was talking about, my husband and I were talking about a little bit earlier, is how if something like the World Series of Poker is ultimately very simple. I mean, the game itself is incredibly complex in terms of the layers of strategy, but in terms of the actual mechanisms of the game, you have cards, you have chips, there really aren't that many rules. However, with a game like this, there are so many moving pieces. I remember once at the World Board Gaming Championships, which is another game competition, one of the hosts of the tournament actually recorded some of the final games. So he recorded like a version of Great Western Trail and then played it back and looked for errors the players had made. And these are in the finals of the tournament. And there was something like, 15 or 20 different errors where people had either not paid for something, paid double, not gained a benefit, gained an extra benefit. And these are not people trying to cheat. This is just the complexity of these games. And so you can sort of see how at WSBG, where there are these prizes and these money on the line, having a system like this where you can very much see particularly what is being paid and gained and why that would be so beneficial.
That was a very interesting turn.
It was.
Right there from John.
Yes.
Playing out a building that chains playing out a building,
Yep.
which chained into a sale,
Yep.
which chained into then being able to purchase a castle.
Yep.
So he has 2 castles in his depots now,
That's
and
interesting.
no direct access to a castle spot.
That's an interesting one to me, because if you look at this board, he's not very close to either of his castle spaces. I mean, he has that one building space. Yep. Yeah, so I think the clearest access is that if he plays, so the building that he has now would give him, in his depot, gives him a ship. So if he places that, that would give him access to a ship, so he can take that from the board. Then once he places the ship tile on the board, then he could access basically either of those 2 potential castle spots. That's interesting though, because it is really dependent on him rolling, I believe, a 1 or a 2, but I think his worker supply is pretty good right now.
Well, I mean, I don't actually see any workers on this
maybe
board,
not.
but
Okay.
I believe that's his current role right there, a 4 and a 1.
okay.
So he will be able to place out that
Yep,
building,
yep.
which is an important start.
6.
Because that is one of the dangerous things of Castles of Burgundy. I mean, technically, you can actually discard tiles from your depot, but whew, I don't think anyone wants to do that.
Right.
So obviously, by choosing to fill up that third depot spot, you are taking a certain amount of a risk because you are very much committing to being able to place one of those tiles before you do anything else in the game.
Let's see. So he placed out one of his mines, and then he took, as replacement, I believe, one of the monastery tiles there. Oh, that's the one there. Once he places out that tile 8, monastery tile 8, he'll be able to duplicate buildings within the same sector. John has been doing a very good job of having all the disparate buildings in there. He might be able to fill up that bottom right 6 area.
Boat right here.
Let's see, how many turns are left in this round here?
I've grown accustomed to it. Come over here with its 3 friend. I will get.
And you can see where they are in the round by the tiles, the shipping tiles on sort of the left-hand side of the main board. Essentially, one comes out each dice roll. Sort of that white dice there sets where that tile goes. So you can always see exactly where you are within the round. And then the stack of goods, sort of at the top of the player board, is one stack of goods comes out each round. So that is also the timer for the game.
Finishing a section for 9 points. Well.
So they're roughly halfway through the second round out of 5 in the game.
Yep. Closing off some areas there. Yeah, this is an interesting map where there are some small areas,
Supposed to leave me the boats.
but also a good amount of large areas. And so,
What are you talking about?
once again, a very talkative, jovial finals table here. Earlier, moving around the ship track. I don't like that, Joey.
Well, and you can see right now that Joey is very far ahead on that ship track right now.
No.
He just overcame, or sorry, actually, it was Jim who just overcame Joey, I think,
Jim just
on the
overcame.
ship track.
Okay.
And then we will use this 5.
Okay, yep. Jim is indeed in blue, so he's a couple of spaces ahead now.
2 workers out the warehouse.
That's not how that works.
That's not. Oh, it's to grab it from the board.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, we will.
Glad we have a second judge.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jordan. She would have said something.
Yes.
Right.
I was checking his board. I was like, I don't think you can do that.
It's a very special knowledge style.
Yep.
You use workers to place a building.
Awesome.
It's like a
You should get your workers
Well, and
back.
this again goes to the complexity of the games that even some of the best players can sort of make a mistake.
Yeah.
how long have we been playing castles?
This is a learning game.
This is the 3rd or 4th round of the Castles tournament. So some of these players have been at it all day.
All day, yep.
But
So it's only 9:30.
it's only 9:30. That's the spirit.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind the tournament started when 9 or so this morning, so they've basically been playing all day.
Yeah.
That is illegal.
You get it right eventually. And then use the 5 with 2 workers.
Yeah, and it's the dreaded doubles. Every time you roll doubles, it's just whew.
Out the warehouse.
See, Don has not yet built his monastery tile that doubles the strength
Yep.
of the workers, right?
Yep.
So he has depleted through that pile that he got earlier quite quickly.
Yep. But sometimes it's worth it. I mean, and that's I think one of the beauties of this game is it's often really not clear. I mean, there's a lot of depth of decision making of when you spend those workers or when you pivot to something else.
They're not, and they're not worth holding on to. It's one of those things that, they're worth spending. They're worth utilizing for what they are. And sometimes you do dip down to 0.
Yep.
And you might take a bad die roll and say, Well, this isn't the worst time to take a pair of workers, indeed.
Yep.
Spend 2.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, he did have the 5 there. He could have played his boat into the water, but decided not to. And I think that really goes to some of that turn order decision making that we talked about. By placing the boat now, he moves on the track at this moment, and maybe that's not what he wants to do. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Again, we're midway through the round. You really want to capitalize on that turn order at the very, very end of the round.
Yeah. But once again, as you said earlier,
Yeah, let's leave all purchases, whether coin or.
do you take advantage of a perfect die roll now, even if the timing's not ideal? But he is full up in that depot in
Yeah.
his 3 storage spots.
Promised to let me hold it because I asked RJ if I could hold the Azul ring.
Yeah.
And he was just like this, and then he closed it up like
Like, no,
like Lord of the Rings. You know?
Oh, you know, the other thing too, and looking at the board, is if he had placed that boat right now, normally you get to pick up goods tiles, but there are none on the board. So that's a tough way to place a boat and pick up absolutely no goods. You know, as we talked about, selling each good is worth 4 points. It also gives you a silverling, which again is half of a purchase from that center area.
Yes, you still get the silver, or sorry, well, you when you sell them, but there's only a very finite number of goods you can collect in this game.
have it for yourself.
And so, yeah, missing out on the opportunity to grab one, if you wait long enough, it's possible that 2 will pile up in a depot.
Well, and I think that tension is what has made this game really stand the test of time and what has made it so popular. Because, you know, again, you place a boat early, you get turn order now, you get to pick your pick of the goods. You place a boat late, you get to actually potentially go on top of somebody else and have that turn order at a more perfect time, but without the goods to go with it.
Well, there it is. The first of John's castles made it out, so that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, so he made it. He made it to the first one, which really relieves a lot of pressure on his depot. Although he is still all filled up. And obviously, when you place a castle, you get a free turn. It's sort of the most powerful action in the game. It's essentially a free dice roll of any type, so you can pick up or place any tile, and those are incredibly valuable if you have places that you need to get to across your board or very specific tiles you need to purchase.
John rolling doubles again.
Oof.
One more time, and I believe he goes to jail, is the official rule book. That might have gotten errated out,
Yeah, maybe that is through playtesting.
actually. There's not a lot of reverse cards in Castles of Burgundy these days. I
Not a lot
notice.
of steal $200, do not pass go.
All right, so bay number 2, or what do you call it, where the goods tiles goes?
We're not sure.
Yeah, I always forget.
The place where the tiles go.
Depots and loading bays and docks. All right.
I put it in here so I know it's full.
And yes, if you are just joining us now in the live stream, this is Connie Vogelman, designer of Wormspan.
Yep.
And did you tease something earlier that you said there's something
Oh.
else in the works? Or?
I mean, there are several other things in the works, but unfortunately, nothing I can talk about right now.
Okay. Well, I won't press further. Yes, okay. I thought I had heard something differently, but.
Will we pause quick? I might see if we can find the correct terminology for where things go. Yes, okay, they are the depots on the board, so I have been misnaming, okay. They just call them the key spaces or storage spaces on your board where you put the tiles. The depots are where the goods tiles go out around the board.
Okay, so I think storage is probably a safe term for
Yep.
your each player's individual area where they can hold up to 3 of the tiles. Their key area where there's storage.
Which is, of course, new to this version of Castles of Burgundy, which is much prettier than the version that I have grown to know and love.
The original printing where the main color schemes were green, lighter green, brownish green, and green.
By the time I remember, I was supposed to remind you, I had to figure out who you were supposed to give it to. And then by the time I figured all that out, I think you were just handed the card to Don.
Okay, yep, so this is the 2019 anniversary edition, as opposed to the 2011 first printing, which will always have a special place in my heart with all of its beiges and green beiges and beige beiges and everything else.
Yeah, the recent Awakened Realms Deluxe Edition, there's some of those set up in the open gaming area where players have been, playing in anticipation and practice for everything going on. But this is a very readable version, I think, especially for camera, which is one of the nice things here.
Okay, oh, there we go. So that's the tile down. So basically he played a building that let him place a second tile, which is obviously very valuable. Again, any way you can sort of cheat your dice rolls a little bit is really, really valuable, which then allowed him to place that tech, which boosts the strength of his workers for the rest of the game.
Yep. The workers, which he has burned through, but they'll come back. They'll be back. Then you'll see.
Although I do wonder what the thematic tie-in is of single-use workers, but maybe it's best not to think about that too much.
This was France, I don't know what that means, but I just figured I'd throw it out there. Look at me knowing my history, where Burgundy is. All right, taking building tile. That is the church,
Yep.
which is another one that you can grab a mine, monastery, or castle from the board.
Yeah. Those are always one of the last buildings that I always pick up. But I think at least my game compared to the folks here, and we have to assume that the folks here are infinitely better, skews a little bit less toward the yellow tiles. So I think that one of the big learning experiences for me just in watching this is to not underestimate those tech tiles.
Oh, absolutely. Oof, I feel for John there.
Yeah.
Two discarded dice to get workers, but
Yep.
I mean, and right now, look at the depots around the board. Look at me using the right parlance.
Yep.
The depots are quite picked through. And what he rolled double fives. It doesn't look
Yeah.
like there's anything of interest for him there, so.
Well, again, sometimes you have to cut your losses because, I mean, after a certain point, you could turn one dice into workers, then spend both of those workers to pick up a mediocre tile, or maybe you sort of try again next time.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of wisdom in, like you mentioned, this is a very tactical game, and John particularly mentioned that when we were speaking with him, right? Kind of let the dice take you where they go, and make the best decisions within that.
All right, so it looks like we
4
have,
goats.
Yeah, we're in the animal game.
I was thinking.
Which again is the time that you want to get in, and because again you do really have to be picking up those tiles throughout the course of the game because you really want to fill that one space with 4 different goats. So you better get started sooner rather than later.
And you might notice that Jim jumped ahead 5 points despite playing only the four goat tile, a sentence I often say. and he does have the monastery, which gives him 1 extra point per green tile, per animal tile that's activated. So if he can build up more of those goats, he can get more bonus points, just those little things here and there that add up a lot.
Well, and it is incredible too. I mean, with Castles of Burgundy, you can score easily over 200 points. But I don't know how many games that I've seen and played where the end game spread will be 5 points or something like that. And I would expect this to be a pretty close game here as well. So far, we haven't seen anyone conflicting on animals, though, which is good. That's always the really aggressive play, right? Is to try to sort of take other people's animals out from under them.
Hey, one of those pigs? Not on my watch.
Well, but you could, in theory, if you want to be aggressive enough, try to steal some of those animals for that 2 space, because you might still be able to complete that and really devastate another player. Or, especially if it's only a 2 space, even if you put mismatched animals in there, the harm to your point total really isn't that high compared to denying that from one of the people building out the 4 space.
Yeah, this map, map number 9, yeah, this one leads to some of those types of decisions. Instead of having even animal spaces, that imbalance there.
So that's one of my favorite buildings in the game. Just get you a couple of silverlings.
Yep, get a pair of them. And often, or is he spending them? Is he keeping them? Yep, he is spending them for a ship right from the black market there. The black market ships, everyone knows to be the best ships, in fact.
That's the next expansion. Haven't you heard? It's Pirates.
Castles of Burgundy, Black Flag. That's good timing right there to grab that ship tile.
Uh-huh.
Purchase that, hoping that he would not be able to.
It's a good line.
Yeah, often I see when that building is played, to be able to get 2 silverlings right away, they tend to go.
Yep.
There's something juicy in the middle of that table almost at all times.
Workers.
Well, and oftentimes you'll be picking up that building with that in mind too. I mean, that might be your fastest and easiest path to be able to purchase that tile. So a lot of times it's almost a stepping stone when you even pick up that building in the first
Each
place.
worker is plus or minus 2. So.
Well, there you go. Good catch, judges. By the way, we have both Jordan Thomas judging, and then we have, sounds like there's another guest just helping keep an eye on things as well. So appreciate all the hard work that the WSBG staff has been doing, trying the best to just keep people inevitably, like you said. I'll share a little, inside baseball from working on the Dice Tower and doing a lot of live streams. Is people point out comments for weeks after we do a live play of a game. Oh, you forgot to pay this 2 coins. Oh, you didn't take this bonus. And it just happens because typically when we are playing, we're playing for entertainment.
Yep.
Here's what the game looks like. And so we will make those little mistakes. And the secret is that you at home are also making those mistakes.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And I think actually sometimes in some ways this SBG, like the white card where everyone's putting their things on and taking it helps remind you. But when you're playing it, you realize, oh my gosh, I have made 25 mistakes this game that this little card has helped me remember.
Boat track 1.
That's good there. Okay, and then
So Jim still has the lead on the boat track,
Oh, I was thinking the John.
but it does look like Don's catching up. And as we talked about, we are getting toward the very end of the round. We have one more dice roll this round.
Yep.
So I'll be really curious to see if Don kind of makes that push.
John's in that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, no. Oh, Joey and Jim both have 1 ship left in their depot. In their storage area.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
See?
see, we're figuring this out.
This is why we have judges to keep us honest as well.
One of those was a game.
Oh, yeah, it was. Moved too quick.
You don't want it, I'll take it. I mean,
Don is just.
For chocolate.
for chocolate.
Yeah, just working the table,
Yeah.
But this is interesting in this situation, where these two players both have the ships left. I mean, it becomes a little bit of a standoff, right? Because everyone's trying to place the last ship. It looks like Jim's keeping the other players at the table honest.
Good on you, Jim.
But in a very sportsman-like way. I mean, Jim actually pointed out that Don had spent too many workers there and helped him catch the error, and that I think really speaks loads to the quality and the character of a lot of the competitors here. So this is my first time at WSBG, and I've just been absolutely blown away by by how kind everyone is. I really thought it would be cutthroat, but players, holy moly, those are more doubles.
Oh.
Wow.
6 there.
But I absolutely agree. It's just the sportsman-like nature that so many of these competitors have is inspiring, and I like to think that even when there's nothing on the line, that I tend to say, you make sure not to forget this bonus, or in Don's case, he had gained 2 workers, spent 1, but he still had 1 in his gains area, and he just kind of discarded that. And so, yeah, just catching those little things, just big kudos to the players.
Oh, this is a tough spot. You can sort of, I would imagine he'd love to get that last boat down, but with a 1 and a 2, oof, is it worth the 2 workers? Because you're Because, if you do place it down with the 2 workers, you're putting yourself in a tough spot at the beginning of the next round, because then you're going to be very much at the mercy of your dice then. So again, do you cut your losses?
Right. And knowing that if he moves forward on the boats first,
There we go.
9, 30, 39.
So he did indeed spend the 2 workers to place down the castle,
Boat.
which then places down the boat, yep.
4 big.
So in this case, he decided it was worth it to spend those 2 workers, and I think that certainly seems correct from this vantage point.
well, especially getting that 8-point bonus twice,
Yeah.
once for the castle and then for closing out the ship.
Yep.
And now he's a little bit at the mercy of Joey, if Joey's going to feld him again, as I really hope becomes the common term for that turn order track mechanism there.
Well, every time we play games, it's always, is it felt turn order or is it not felt turn order, you
Yeah.
know?
So, yeah. Appreciate that.
And I'll flag too that you can see a little bit of separation of the points, the victory points of the players, but that can be really deceiving in this game.
Oh my word.
Yeah, yeah. So right now it looks like,
Get some goods.
what is the point spread? 10, 20, 30, 40 points or so between the players? But again, a lot of that just depends on when they're finishing those regions, and are you working toward the small regions early, or are you working toward the big regions late?
Yeah, exactly. There's so many bonuses to be had by just doing some nice small areas right at the beginning. But are you going to end up losing steam? I've definitely seen people shoot ahead and then kind of putter out,
Yep.
not through any fault of their own, but just it kind of feels like that. Like, oh no, I'm not getting 20 points in a single round, with a single placement or 2 anymore.
Right. Well, and and I'm sure we'll get there later on in the game. But one of the interesting things too is deciding, especially in the last couple of rounds, what are your goals? It's very rare, or basically, I think I've seen it once or twice maybe to fill your entire board, but that's at a high level play like this where all of the players are getting in each other's way and being competitive. You're not going to fill a board. Oh, there we go. So Joey
So
placed
I
his
think
boat
we
as
established that's
well.
18 points. We also established I can't math.
Oh, there we go.
that
So,
is-
so all of a sudden that point gap is narrowed a little bit.
Yep.
It's a 4
Um,
plus 9. Oh, 10 plus 8. Yes.
I don't know if the audience at home is able to hear Joey. I think we've established that that's 18 points, but we've also established I can't math, so I'll let you count it out for me.
Nobody's
And we
gonna
are
judge
starting
you
to
if
see
you
a
go
pretty
back
big spread on that boat trap right now.
Yes.
So I think that John probably at this point has just, that's not going to be part of his game.
2 workers.
He's going to focus on other things.
He might do boats basically as sees worthwhile for grabbing those goods tiles, but for little more than that, right? Or
Yeah.
well, maybe he can finish off an area or something, but
But oftentimes you do have to identify fairly early on if there's 4 or 6 spaces, one color, for instance, or a couple of regions that you're just not really going to focus on this game. And so for him, it might just be that 4 space boat region is just not going to be something that he's going to focus on.
as you said, right, you're not filling in that board. So
We're gonna use the other worker. A worker to make it a 5. Put out church.
Ooh, that's tough.
Take
okay,
But again, his storage space is empty. He's picking up something now, but he'll go into the next round in a pretty good spot, so he'll have a couple of workers left over.
yep. And these are the beefed up. These are the steroided workers
Yep.
over here that Don has. So the nice news is, as long as he doesn't roll doubles again with those plus minus 2
Yep.
value workers, he
Yep.
can grab from any spot. But he is a little bit later in the turn order. And by a little bit later, I don't know, I'm speaking imprecise. He's 3rd in turn order. There's only 4 possibilities, and I chose ambiguity.
My eyes are like so watery when we were cleaning the board.
Giving a little thumbs up. I got it, Jim this time.
like a blind man.
Well, and just to reiterate, these players have been playing an awful lot of games today, and so I would imagine that the fatigue is setting in a little bit too.
Jim actually is the one who had the bye in the first round because he qualified for at PresCon.
Yep.
So he qualified through the I forget what the term is for that, but just like the little the early tournament, the invitational, the satellite tournament, I think is I'm being cued in. Yes, I need to stop calling things incorrectly. The large farmer's hook is coming to grab me by the neck and yank me off if I misspeak more WSBG terms. That's not true at all. But let me talk more about how the World Series of Poker is amazing.
But speaking of those satellite tournaments, I do think that for the most competitive players at the game, they're really, really valuable. I basically run them at, I think, like PresCon and some of the other tournaments, and if you win one of those tournaments, you can get a buy for the first round at WSBG. And given the high level of competition here, I really understand why people are very interested in doing that. And plus, again, you can get up a little bit later, you can sleep in, and you have one less game in a particularly busy and long day.
And some of these satellite tournaments, to note, will actually be handled on Board Game Arena as well. So if you play online and you want to kind of test your mettle, that's an easy place to do so, and you might actually gain a benefit. So Jim has played one fewer game of Castles of Burgundy so far today in this marathon that started in the morning, and that can really help your mental state, your acuity of kind of being able to judge just even little things. When the math ain't mathin', so to speak, maybe it'll math better for you. It's a pretty big turn there for John, finishing off his building area with a 4-point tower as well.
Yep.
They want to look at it.
So you can see John jumping far in the lead now. He was quite a bit further back, right, from the other two players, green and blue there, but now he's spending that time, little by little, working on it. All right. While they set up for the next round, I think this would probably be a good moment. Why don't we cut to some more information? Actually, if you're interested in the World Series of Board Gaming, talk a little bit about the Early Bird Special.
What's up, board gamers? Now you can compete in the World Series of Board Gaming from the comfort of your own home. Introducing Board Game Arena official tournaments, where you can win your way to WSBG 2026. Head on over to BoardGameArena.com and sign up for one of our free tournaments for a taste of the action. Plus, join the official WSBG group so you can be notified anytime a new tournament drops. There's no better way to practice for the main event. And hey, you want to lock in your 2026 spot at the best possible deal? Well, head on over to WSBGVegas.com and use the code EARLYBIRD at checkout for an exclusive limited time offer. Don't just watch the action. Come be a part of it. Your journey starts now. Visit WSBG.
When you're serious about board games, the table matters. Game Theory Tables builds the most innovative, highest-rated game tables in the world, designed for serious gamers who demand more. Whether it's analog or digital, Origins or Arena, our tables transform game night into an experience you'll never forget. We're proud to sponsor the World Series of Board Gaming. Good luck, players. And remember, the best games start at the table.
And look at that beautiful shot of that Game Theory table. Not quite in action at this point, as our finalists here are taking a quick breather.
Yep.
So
why don't we can certainly go through each of the boards and think about talk through what the players might be trying to do in their next 3 rounds. So they're 2/5 of the way done with the game right now. So we talked about there's not a lot of engine building, so to a certain extent they should be about 2/5 done with their boards, at least pretty close. So yeah, let's kind of take a closer look at each of the boards.
All right, so this is going to be John down in the bottom right corner there. He still has that ship and the castle that he can work towards over on the top left. Or I wonder if he would have any reason to start trying to build up to the top there, that top castle instead.
Yeah, well, he's a little locked out right now, to be honest with you. He does have a couple of workers, and as we but I mean, right now he basically has one option with his dice roll here. I mean, he needs to essentially place that boat. Presumably, the perfect roll would be a 2 and a 6 to place the boat, and then place the. Hey, you know what? We can wish cast all we want, but that is a little bit of a tricky spot to be in because he has that extra building, but nowhere to put it right now, unless he either, again, probably makes it through with the 2 and the 6.
Right. Yeah. So he's kind of got that main focus going on. Well, let's jump over here, player 2, I suppose we can go to next.
Yeah.
So Don's board, he has more open spaces in his storage.
Yep.
As opposed to to John, who's all filled up. He
Yep.
needs to place
Right away, yep.
quick, which is not an enviable position to
No.
be in, especially because he's last in turn order.
Yep.
I kind of think about that 1-2 punch, unfortunately, against him.
Yeah, but he did finish that building, that 6 building space early on, which is definitely good.
Yeah. So yeah, Don here with a bit more flexibility.
Board now?
It looks like 2 of those beefed up power
Yeah,
workers.
yeah. And I guess we're
Monastery
getting
4,
started. It was a
going into the
real
2
quick
slot.
break for the players.
Monastery 19 going into the 3 slot. And Monastery 3 going into the 5 slot.
Okay, so Monastery 3 is
And
one that
then
would be a
it's gonna
little
kill
bit better
black
early in the
markets,
game, but it's
kill
probably still worth
buildings
picking up
and
now.
animals as well.
This is the one that allows your mines to produce 2 silverlings instead of 1.
Oh, yeah.
Again, ideally you'd kind of pick that up in the first round, but you also have more mines as you go later, so you can kind of get more benefit from it.
Was that one, sorry, is that
Oh.
mines or is that from sales of goods?
Oh, is it from sales of goods? Oh, you're right.
Yes.
Yes, that's from sales of goods, correct. Yeah.
Let's see, what the other one's called out. Number 4 actually was also on the board there,
4.
in the number 2 slot.
Okay. Oh, you get a worker. So when you sell goods, you get a worker. So in theory, 3 and 4 can work pretty well together.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I mean,
Nice if you can get it to work.
I bet this still doesn't work.
Number 19, Monastery
Everybody's
19.
gonna reduce.
Let's see, which is a 4-point per building of a specific type.
Yeah, unfortunately, the cheat sheet we have doesn't tell us which one it is, and we can't quite see it on the screen, so we just know it's one of the 4-point ones.
Control engineering side, design electrical systems and write software.
And then also in area number 1, it looks like it's Monastery Tile 11.
That one gives you plus or minus 1 worker strength when you're placing either a castle, a mine, or a monastery tile. So basically it just gives you, they're kind of built-in workers, but only specifically for placing those specific types of tiles. I will admit that as a player, I don't like those very much. They're just so specific for when you can actually use them, especially when contrasted with other buildings that just give you extra workers, for instance.
So, buildings. Okay. All types of buildings. Everything possible, apartments. Yeah, medium.
Yeah, and they're clarifying.
Right, that's the yellow there. You sell good, you get a worker. You sell good, you get money.
Yeah.
What is, you get double workers? What's this one?
Trade in your
Oh,
guy, you get 2 workers, or 4 workers.
yeah, you get double worker.
There you go.
This is the one you thought you
That's
had.
one I thought. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yep, that definitely you could see Don's confusion with, he has the Monastery Tile for beefed up workers,
Yep.
plus or minus 1 or 2, whereas they're in the center there of the black market. When you discard a die for workers, you get 4 instead of 2.
Ooh, wish he'd had that a couple rounds ago.
Yeah. And he's still, he's still got a few of them on his board, as we said right now. So I'll be curious to see. His die roll is a 1-2. Usually you want to see kind of a wider spread if you're tile hunting at the start of the round.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear the players, even at this level, going through what the different monastery tiles do. I mean, is there obviously they're all icons, and I know for me, the icons on this version of the game are quite a bit different, and I wonder if some of the players have been playing the older version.
That's true. There's not too many changes, but I believe that they did change out one of the previous edition monastery tiles. The one that we mentioned earlier that has the little bit of the WSBG debuff to it. That one, I believe, is new to this edition. Is that right?
I believe it is.
Well, let's see where Joey's going here. A roll of a 6 and a 3, 1 open spot in his storage. Yeah, it's the top of the 3rd round, so any of those monastery tiles that have those ongoing abilities still, I think, could be quite worth it.
Well, and again, too, with Castles of Burgundy, like so many of these great Euro games, you just have several different incentives at once. I mean, because even if you're not going to get a lot of benefit from that tile, and again, as you said, there's still plenty of game left to play, you still have to get across your board, you're still getting benefits for closing the regions, you're still getting the flags for finishing, if you can be first or second to finish those particular types of tiles.
Yeah, that's huge, yeah.
Yeah.
And just opening up access to the board even, ideally, there's those two single space yellow sections. So if you want an ability and you want to get an easy 1+ right now 6 points, that's not a bad way to do
No,
it.
absolutely not.
Someone rested and refreshed.
Yeah.
You know, and we were talking during the break a little bit that John was in a tough spot, but boy, does he have a lot of points on the board. I mean, he's got a pretty big lead over all the other players right now. So.
And as we said earlier, it could be deceiving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he's building his monastery right out there.
Yep.
So
How many points is that?
Right. Gives him good access to that next castle spot to start working on the that second building spot as well. It is interesting though that Joey did place those early animals. It hasn't really come back to it yet. So I wonder if he pivoted away from something else, or if just the dice rolls haven't quite worked out.
yeah, and I wonder if he'll now kind of be building hunting since he has that monastery now, which will unlock that. He can double. He could have, if I'm not mistaken on the rules, it's unlimited number of repeats in an area.
Yep. Once you
I've done that late game where like I don't mind having 3 towers all in the same same spot of the board.
Yeah, okay, and there's a lot of pigs out on the board too, which is what Joey is going for. Oh yeah, there are, let's see, so 1 pig in the center, and then 1 in the 4 area, and 1 in the 6 area. So it'll be kind of interesting to see at this point, like does Joey start trying to scoop up those buildings and pair it with a tile, or does he really hone in on those pigs now, because I'm sure he wants to finish that pig space.
Yeah, he has a 6 right there, so he can grab that trio of swine from Depot number 6. That was the follow-up song, unfortunately, to Lou Bega's Mambo number 5. It didn't hit as well on the U.S. charts, but I hear that it did very well in Australia, but I might be mistaken on that.
You sure it didn't do well in France?
6, I'll just for the castle.
Oh, he took the castle tile instead.
Well, as we talked about, I mean, if he's able to place that castle, it gives him, I mean, it finishes the 1 region. It gives him immediate access to that building space, and then it gives him essentially a free action to sort of avoid some of the dice rolls.
Jim here, who, as we said, should be the freshest player at the table, definitely mulling over his options here. He has a spanking clean storage. Squeaky clean storage? Maybe that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, his options, so he rolled a 4 and a 5. He has a couple of workers there, and he has 0 spaces filled in his storage, which in some ways that's a great position to be in, but in some ways it's hard because the options are almost endless.
Yeah. Okay, took a mine from number 4.
It makes sense. Probably trying to at least fill out that 2 mine space gives him a little bit better access to the other corner of his board.
Take this science. Selling gives me an extra $1.
Okay, yep.
Yep.
There.
So that's the tile that when he sells goods, he will get 2 silverlings instead of 1. Well, he has 3 goods right now, so in theory that could be 6 silverlings just from what he has now, which is good because one thing to note too is because he has that 4 building space, or the 4 boat space filled, his ability to get more market tiles throughout the game is fairly limited. So
That's true. He has 2 more pulls max if he builds off into that area, which if he's this far ahead, clearly him and Joey are going to be wanting that first place to have filled in all of the boat spaces.
it does seem like they're almost certainly going to get first and second though, which in a game that's this close, those extra 3-point difference from getting the first tile, I believe it's 3 points difference from the first tile to the second tile, could be significant.
Yeah.
Rainy day fun. I didn't know.
Oh, I just noticed, the way that turn order happens, it worked out is nicely counterclockwise around the table.
Yeah.
Certainly never confusing. Let's.
So we're gonna worker make that a 3 to sell 2 goods.
Super worker.
8.
8 for green. All right, math time. 64, 56 to 64.
Yep, so each of those goods that you sell is worth the player count at the table. So in a 4-player game, each good that you sell is worth 4 points each. So if you sell a stack of 2, obviously it's 8 points.
I never put that together. That's a really good shorthand. All right, and he's spending that silverling there for the one that we mentioned there that was in the middle of the table.
It's the one that turns your dice into 4 workers.
Yeah, I mean, that combo,
It's a good one.
he is going to be more stress-free. Not quite Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan, so we didn't have to worry about money no more, kind of stress-free, but...
It's just a question of the investment to get there. I mean, we obviously noted that he had to turn on a lot of workers early on. Again, sometimes the dice just are not your friends.
Yep.
So hopefully these powers can sort of help him maybe make up for some of those earlier turns that took workers. Or took dice to turn into workers.
Oh, doubles again.
Yeah. Oof. Okay.
2.
Yep. Well, as we talked about during the break a little bit, he basically pretty specifically needed a 2, but at least he rolled the 6 that he needed, so that's actually a pretty good spot.
That's true, and the wrap, right? The wrap around from 6 to 1 to 2.
Yep.
That is one of the small hangups I think that new players have with this, is kind of feeling like, oh no, my 5 is not anywhere close to a 1. Well, it's closer than you think. It's still not pleasant spending 2 workers when you don't want to.
Well, and one thing I'll note too, it's been interesting actually to see, we've seen these players spend a lot of workers throughout the game, and a decent number of dice for workers too. And I think that's something that newer players really don't want to do. I mean, as we talked about earlier, you never want to give up a turn, but I do wonder if newer players tend to make a few too many compromises to sort of hang on to those workers too late. Whereas here you can see these players are very freely spending their workers, and also spending workers down to 0.
With his free action from the castle there, he picked up his first mine of the game.
Yep.
It's, well, I mean, yeah, what is he going to do? Is he going to close off the one little mine sector in the bottom? I wonder if he's going to build it more.
Yeah. It's interesting, you know, oftentimes for me at least, if I want to be either going for mines or going for boats. I mean, or both, you know, but it's a little bit hard to go through a game without any access to silverlings at all. And it's interesting that he's so far ahead in points right now without either of those 2 income sources of silverlings.
Yeah, you're right. He even has the monastery tile where when he builds boats, when he places those out, he can also grab the shipping tiles, the shipping goods from an adjacent box as well.
Yep.
And as you said, that's a little bit more limiting than it sounds like it'll be, because you're limited to 3 numerical value types.
Yep.
But it is interesting that he's not leaned too hard into that. He's in fact the person who hasn't placed a single ship yet.
Yep.
3 and a worker to play the castle.
All right, yep, and there goes that castle down as we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So now the question is, what does he do with it? I think if it's me, I'd probably go for the pigs, but that's maybe just me being a little bit of a short-term thinker.
Free action. I'll take.
Come on, go for the pigs. Go for the pigs.
But again,
Connie
I mean,
says so.
But the buildings are so juicy too.
That's the interesting thing.
Okay.
Free action from the castle.
All right. Maybe he's also assuming too that nobody's going to challenge him on the pigs, so maybe he might be able to get those a little bit later.
Right.
I'll get the pigs.
Yep. Oh, he had the 6.
But he picked up some of the pigs. Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, I think you can probably assume that if players, I mean, especially in a 4-player game, you know, one of the things that we talk about a lot with games is that in a 2-player game, everything's very zero-sum. If I need pigs and Chris takes my pigs, I'm in a much worse spot. In a 4-player game, it's a lot tougher because you have to assess, are you taking something from the person that you think is in the lead in a way that will get you into that position? Because if you're basically taking something out of spite or sort of hate drafting, you're losing position against the other 2 players at the table who kind of had nothing to do with it.
And there's that perceived leader who might not be the actual leader, because it's everything is visible. There's certainly no hidden information. One of the things that I think we spoke about, if memory serves, off camera, that makes Castles of Burgundy so unique is just how there's no gotcha. There's no memorizing decks of cards, and unlike some of the other games in here, not a strength nor a deficit of the game at all, but just kind of the fact that everything is visible. People's storage area where they can build things are visible, but it is hard to necessarily tell the intentions that people have.
Yeah. Well, in a high level play too, they're definitely going to be looking at each other's storage areas and each other's dice too to assess, how likely is it that somebody's going to take my tile? I mean, do they have the perfect placement to place one of the things that they have in their depot? Do they have the roll to take the tile that I want as well?
We're gonna use.
One other nuance too to just mention, I think Joey has the monastery tile that gives him 4 points for the banks. And as we talked about, he can place any number of identical buildings within that other 6 building space, and so now he's getting 4 points per bank plus the silverlings, and so that would be probably a very interesting decision for him. Whereas the pigs are probably going to be much less contested than the banks, which are all of the players are still going to want.
Yes, yeah, because as we said, building a bank is 2 free silver right off the bat, which is essentially a free action. Grab one of those black market tiles, which is which can be huge. Is that?
Oh, interesting. Okay, so Jim grabbed another mine.
I was like, how
So then I wonder if he's probably going to look to fill in that two space.
Did he decide? Oh, he might have decided not to take it.
Oh, did he not? Okay.
we're not architects.
Fine, we're not architects.
One of my favorite things about this hobby is just the sentences that pop up.
I think you're putting too much faith in fish, Chris. Is something that not uncommonly heard here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, he already has one mine. He was debating picking up the second one, but if he picked up the second one, that last mine space, and on the lower left-hand corner of his board, is far away. I mean, that's a pretty narrow pathway to get there, and so that would be filling up his storage space for a long time if he takes that. Even though I'm sure he desperately wants that third mine and the third income.
And to maybe be able to race and be first place to finish finish all of those. But yeah, he has this castle that he just gained, which is nice, but it is also it's far away from what he can actually do right now. So that's
yeah. I mean,
a blessing and a
obviously
curse.
the best access to both would be through that one building tile, but he still has to pick up and place that building.
So rather than take the castle, he is going for I forget the name of that building. I believe that's the one that allows you to grab another building, if memory serves.
And then I will.
Oh no, that's the one for the water and the animal tiles. They look a little bit similar, especially from our vantage point.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that too was just. So I wonder if maybe he's thinking about his own animal spaces, or if he's looking for those last 2 boat spaces as well.
Over to.
So he does, in fact, have 2 mines.
Yeah, he did take it after a little bit of back and forth.
But now with the building tile, he'll have a pathway to there sooner than he would have had.
Yep, and he has at least 1 worker, so the odds of getting there are pretty decent.
Don is. Wow. Yep. He's taking advantage of the workers.
Yeah. So it looks like he sold one of his dice for 4 workers now that he has the tech that allows him to sell for 4. And then it looks like he's then taking 2 of those workers to change another dice.
Does he remember that he has the strengthened workers? What is he turning that 3 into?
Oh, okay. This is that Monastery 6. This is the one that we talked about that was that is specifically errated for WSBG.
That's right. Okay.
Okay, so you can spend 2 workers to buy any single beige building. So that's what all of the cost of the workers are there.
That certainly makes sense then.
Okay, yep. So he used the workers to buy a bank.
Beat me to it that time, Jordan.
Okay. That's such a good combo. We hadn't really talked about that before, but now that he has that building, so he could turn 1 worker or 1 dice into 4 workers, then use 2 of those workers to buy a brown tile, and still have 2 workers left over. That's great.
That is great. That's essentially a free building draft from anywhere, plus having still 2 workers, and his workers are, as I mentioned. I don't want to use allegations of steroid and juicing, but those workers they're mighty mighty. Okay, I believe that was Monastery 4. Or not, yeah, Monastery 4. When he sells goods, he will be able to get workers as well.
Yep.
He only has one number of good, and yeah, it's interesting. He's leaning into a lot of
Yeah.
these ship-based powers, and he is the one furthest behind on shipping.
Although, kind of counterpoint, now he does have good access to that force space, and those boats aren't going to be as contested anymore because a lot of the other players have already grabbed them.
Yeah,
So, this is maybe a time where those goods are going to start really piling up on those spaces if those other players aren't picking up the boats anymore.
and that's one of the amazing things about pivot. I think every person all of the four
Yep.
that we interviewed here said this game is about pivoting, knowing when to pivot, and just because you started doing something doesn't mean you're going to see that through to completion. Vice versa. Very possibly vice versa for John there. He's been holding off on the boats. Maybe he'll jump into it, and if he's got all these powers that benefit him, maybe people are going to be underestimating him a little bit on
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. The other thing too is just to mention. One of my favorite things to do in Castles of Burgundy too is, you want the mines. That sort of, again, everyone. If you have the opportunity to take an early mine, you're going to take an early mine. But one of the most satisfying ways to play, I think, is to actually avoid it. Is to sort of say you're going to zag while everyone else zigs. I think I said that backwards. You're going to zig while everyone else zags.
There's no wrong way to do it, because if people say, well, you said that wrong, I say, well, I zagged. Checkmate.
We can see Joey then making use of his the monastery that allows him to place 2 buildings, and also so he placed both of those banks, which then opened up his castle space as well. So he has the castle ready and waiting to go there. So that's a pretty good spot to be in.
I wonder if he's debating now just going for it, right?
Yeah.
Placing out that castle, placing out that mine, maybe.
Yep, you called it.
Worker to play the castle.
So he spent his last worker then
Uh-huh.
to place the castle.
51 to 58. Woohoo, I'm beating you.
He might not be in a rush to place his mine, because
Yep.
still,
Got some time.
time before the end of the round.
Right, and that castle, because it gives him the free action, gives him, potential tile take, out of the central pool, a little bit out of cycle, or a little bit faster.
Do you find yourself typically using those free castle actions to take more often than to place?
I think it just really depends on the dice rolls. I think a lot of times if you have a key space that you really need to get to, filling in something to basically get across the board a little bit more quickly is kind of worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
Assuming perfect dice rolls, I'd much rather take something with it.
Because, as we said, taking has both that benefit. It helps you, and it's turning off that option for somebody else. And he's certainly mulling this one over.
Mm-hmm.
Reaction, I'll take this yellow time.
Points for churches, chapels.
Okay.
4 points per church.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
That double building tile, or the tile that allows him to place multiple buildings. Now he can kind of load up on churches. Churches, I think, are some of the buildings that do tend to stick around a little bit longer. So now all of a sudden his incentives are a little bit higher to take those churches than some of the other players.
if you can make something a little less desirable, all of a sudden desirable uniquely to you, that's a way to feel a little less under the gun, so to speak, under that pressure of everything I want, everyone else also wants.
Yeah. I wonder too if he's thinking about finishing up his tech tiles too, because the monasteries allow you to take those yellow tiles, and so maybe he's really just trying to rush to get the bonus for completing his techs.
Right. If getting churches and being able to place out multiple of them just kind of perpetuates that cycle there.
All right, so let's see. Okay, so as we talked about, Jim does have his 3 depot spaces filled.
Yep.
And does have his 2 mines. He rolled a 3, which is potentially pretty good there. And I think he's debating probably whether or not to turn the 2 into a 1 to fill that building space so that he could have access to that last mine. Okay.
So say 3 plus 6, 9. Sorry, Joey. 57,
John's
66.
still with that lead, but it certainly doesn't feel as strong as just from the looks of it earlier. Like you said, so much of this game is deceiving.
Yeah.
Jumping out to that lead is not a guarantee of.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so Jim opted to take that castle then, which is, I think it's an aggressive play, because basically what he's very much needing to do now is probably get a 2 or a 1 to place that building, which then will allow him to place the castle and the mine on a future turn. But he does have 1 worker as well.
Maybe a 6.
So it looks like let's go.
47.
27. 81? Sounds good.
Oof.
27-point
Wow.
jump with that placement there, and Don is certainly utilizing being able to trade in those 2 workers for a building from anywhere on the board.
Yep, absolutely.
I think the term you use, anything you can do to cheat the dice.
Yeah.
It's very valuable, this one.
Look, I'm all about cheating in games as long as it is cheating that's allowable and sponsored by the game.
Game sponsored cheating. And then with a 3, taking the ship there. Yeah, not making it easy for our friend John to catch up on
No.
ships yet.
Yep.
Track 1.
My suspicion too is that boat there placement was really much more to unlock that aspect, that place of the board, more than it is specifically for the ship.
Because ideally, you want to get to all 4 of your castles. And he has an interesting path where he has done nothing with animals yet, so that opens up that path. If he wants to continue on the shipping, he can kind of move up there, upwards towards the right, perhaps.
Yeah.
But
My suspicion at this point is that if he hasn't started with animals yet, it might be late to do it. So I think if it was me in his spot, I would really try to focus on that second building region. You know, he filled out one of his building regions early, to try to really get make sure he gets all 6 building types for that kind of upper left-hand region and maybe work around in that direction.
yeah, that's true.
Is this here?
You know, again, I think one of the pitfalls that you can fall into with castles is thinking that you can do everything. And as we talked about, you can't do everything. So I do think you have to make decisions about which piece you're not going to do. So it looks like maybe he's ignoring those 2 mine spaces. He might be ignoring some of the animal spaces. I think targeting completing the rest of the board, maybe minus those 6 or 8 spaces, is probably a pretty good way to start thinking about things at this point in the game.
And that is a hard thing to do, to want to do something, especially early on if you have that aspiration of, you know, ooh, this is on this map, this might be what I'd like to do, and then the dice don't fall that way. Fighting against the dice is not necessarily the way that you're going to win this one.
Where to put those?
Yep.
The pivoting within, as you said, not being afraid to use the workers, though, you know.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't think that was the roll that Jim wanted, though. I see his double 4s, and I think I remember we were talking about he really wanted a 1 or a 2 right now. So, I wonder if we'll see another dice into workers now.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like Don drew or had drawn on his player aid there a little bonus reminder payment area. Probably for me to stop it. Why is he using all those workers to change his dice? That's what I talk like in my own mind, by the way, when I am making fun of myself. It's like a little bit of Christopher Walken and a little bit of, I don't know, like early transcontinental accent.
But look, if we can't make fun of ourselves, what are we doing, you know?
A lot of double rolls
Yeah,
have been
yeah.
happening this game. Not ideal.
Yeah.
The 6 depot is almost out.
3, and I was like, what do I do with the 3? I don't have the 3.
So that white dice there is the dice that is used. Basically, the first player each round rolls the white dice, which then determines which of the depots that the market, the shipping tile goes into. And so you could see Joey there saying, "What am I going to do with 3? Oh wait, no, that's not my dice after all." So this is my rules variant. The first player also gets the 3. You can swap that in for one of your dice. You heard it here.
Is that something that you do, actually?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that'd be interesting, right?
Sort of fun.
There's already enough benefit of
Well,
presumably being
yeah.
first, right? But,
Yep.
but I always like any game that gives you, gives you a little extra pepper like that.
Alright, so turning in one of the dice for workers. And then it looks like he used his other 6 to place the pigs, I believe.
Yep. So 7 points there, 3 from the new one, 4 for reactivating the previous one. Now it's not Joey that has the bonus points.
No, I
that-
believe it's.
That's going to be Jim, I think.
Yeah. No, it looks okay. So it looks like he's rethinking. Was he rethinking selling the second dice? Looks like.
I'll buy the sheep in the middle.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Ah.
So he's buying sheep out in the middle. So he might be looking to really rush animals and presumably put the sheep in the second smaller pasture on the other part of his board.
There we go.
Yep.
Yep.
That was the whole reason. How can I get ahead of Jim this turn?
It's
Nice. Yep, that was well done because that avoided him having to turn that dice in for workers as well.
Yep.
Less workers, more sheep.
Less workers, more sheep. Things we see in games and on an average Tuesday.
Yeah. All right, so let's see what Jim does here. As we talked about, his depot spaces are his storage spaces are filled, and again, he was probably really hoping for not double 4s.
just stumbled my way to the final table somehow.
There's a lot of humility with these players who
Yeah.
say, oh, I'm not really sure how I got to this finals table.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
am I doing here? This isn't my strong game, or I won't name names because I don't want to shame anyone, right? But it was funny talking with one of the players before. They say, yeah, this is one of the games I've played a good amount. I've got about 20 plays of it.
Yep.
And it's just kind of funny that that's, for the average gamer, that's a lot of plays of a game. And for some of these players, 20 is...
A month.
Right, yeah. Very, very few plays, yeah, relatively speaking. But one thing that Jim does, whose turn it is here, he says that they host, him and his wife host games pretty frequently at their house. They have a good gaming scene up there in Denver. But one of the things that he does is the Labor Day weekend, so just a few weeks ago here in the U.S., he tries to host a Saturday and Monday marathon.
Use them.
So he's getting workers
Yeah,
here.
I don't think he had any other option. Yep.
Which gives me
And he's spending them both.
Yep. I don't think there's any other option.
Yep. He's trucking along on shipping though.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think he's still in a good spot. I mean, that was a frustrating turn, but he's in a good spot to get those last couple tiles down. He's in a good spot on shipping as well.
Yep.
All right.
6 plus 6, 12.
Okay, that's good here. Yep, Dawn holding out a little bit of that lead there.
But yeah, that marathon gaming session, they said they tried to get through all 16 WSBG, ring games in 2 days worth of gaming. That's wild.
With a Sunday off in between.
To rest and recover.
Yeah, I think they said they made it through about a dozen or so of them, not through all 16, and yeah, that's impressive,
Yep.
and I think, if memory serves, both Don and Jim attended that, and so that's fun, and it's fun to see them both now at this finals
Yep.
table.
Absolutely.
I wonder if that helps alleviate some of the mood and the tension and everything. Like I said, these guys are joking around, not afraid to kind of be self-disparaging a little bit.
Yep. Well, I'll say too, I mean, see, there we go again. Super workers. I wonder if super workers will turn into another building.
No, he's going to hold on to him.
Okay.
I mean,
Interesting. Well, the buildings are getting pretty picked over. But I would have thought maybe you would have picked one up, just kind of prospectively. I mean, he might be thinking that he might be able to make a more informed decision next turn once he rolls his dice again.
two of those buildings out there are churches, like you said, which tend to be some of the least sought after ones. The other one there would allow him to get animals or ships.
Which
So
again, yeah. So he may be just holding out for the next round too, because he can use that ability once per turn. So if he piles up a stack of workers this round, he could potentially every single turn in the next round buy another building with them.
Okay, play another building immediately with that
Oh,
placement.
yep, nice. That's a good way to get across your board. And then that's that bank for 2 more saplings.
Go 4.
Where's that?
Or the instant sale.
8, 19.
I'm gonna get a coin.
Oh, yep. Instant sale.
And he also gets workers from his sales of goods. Yeah, all of these abilities that tie so well
Yep.
together with shipping, and I'm curious to see if we're going to see him.
Make a real push.
Yeah.
Yep, see?
Yep, there it is.
Yep.
That's my turn.
You called it.
All right, that's interesting. So now we're going into the last turn of the third round, third era. Well, now you're going to make me second guess the terminology that I use. Phases, I think, is going to be the established terminology there, right?
Okay, so
5
the game,
phases,
5
letters A through
phases.
E.
All right. Oh boy, letters A through E. Okay, come on. We got to be able to do better than that. where this is the terminology in the rulebook. It's interesting to see too that we have basically 3 players that are still kind of in it for boats. Although not an easy path for them to place any more boats either, so.
Yeah, this being the last turn or round of this phase. See how we're picking things up here.
I think we're in letter E.
6.
There's the church, right, that, as you said, is more beneficial for him. And picking up some workers so that maybe he's got, more flexibility at the start of the new round, because
Yeah, although does this mean he'll go into the next round with full storage? Is there one more? Okay, yeah, so he will then, by doing this, he will be a little bit constrained then in the start of the final round. Which again cuts a little bit against the earlier turn order. It might be a little bit less important at that point.
that's true. If he places at least one building out, then he could maybe take the one most important tile for him at that point. But
Oh, this is going to be a pretty good turn for Jim here because he just placed his, as much as his dice roll last roll was terrible, I think this one was actually pretty good for him because he could place his castle directly, use the free action to place the boat, and then he still has the 3 left over to place the mine as well.
Take care of
Yep.
Joey's issue with the white die. He doesn't need to look at it anymore.
So by taking over as first player, now Jim gets the dice. I like to call it the dice of power. I'm sure there's so much more boring name for it in the rulebook. But now Jim will be the one rolling that dice in the next roll.
if we're on a roll of correcting ourselves, let's see here. It is called, and are you ready for this? According to the rule book, the white die.
We need to have a talk with these rulebook writers. Let's inject a little creativity.
There you go. And exactly as you said, with that 3, he's able to close out the last mine and take that first place 5 or not 5 points,
Maybe
7
7,
point tile in a 4-player game. And then that scaling is very interesting by player count, right?
Yep.
That's harder to do. It's harder to be the first one in each category, so they're worth more points the
Yep.
more players there are, more competition.
Yep.
What are you going to see Don doing here? He's pipping that up or down.
He doesn't have any tiles to place. And the depots are pretty bare at this point. Okay, so it must be pipping it down since 6 is empty. Unless he's shipping something. But I wonder if he's might grab a building or something like that going into the next round.
Markets.
The market, yep.
And again, he's got that 6 area to fill. So
5. Play the markets.
okay.
With that, he can grab either an animal pasture or a boat, and it looks like And it's boating time.
Interesting, yep. Well, by the time you've placed 3 of your 6 boats, it seems like it's probably pretty good to try to close it out. You know, generally you don't like to leave things undone. So once you start a 4-space region, ideally you want to be finishing it. So my best hypothesis is that he's planning to leave the last 2 mines and ignore the animals, or certainly ignore the 4-space of animals.
And it's not too hard to work around, especially if you are filling in those boat spaces on the top right there.
Yep.
Then you have access, you can get all the way up to your castle.
Yep.
A single space is easy to fill in, and some bonus points, especially if you can get 4 points for something, a building type or something that he's already got going on.
So the board's pretty bare right now. There's not much to pick up. So you rolled a
It's slim pickings.
2 and a 3. Looks like there's some goats, I think those are on the 3.
This is a lousy pair of goats. It's the pair that's lousy. It's not necessarily
I
the
was gonna
goats.
say goats are pretty great.
Are you, if it's not too personal a question,
No.
are you a fan of the goats? Is that like just goats in general, or?
Well, I do remember that for a while my aunt and uncle, they have sort of a pseudo farm, and for a while they had basically some farmers were coming in and raising animals on their property, and eventually my aunt and uncle said, no, you can't kill these goats. They're too cute. They were supposed to be for food, so they became pets essentially.
That is more goats than I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
So. All right, out of habit, John was passing Joey, I think the active player card.
Yeah.
But no, we've had a shakeup. This has been a regime change. It is now the era of Jim with the die of power, aka the white die.
Oof. Might want to rethink that phrasing a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go stand in the corner.
Okay, and it looks like we're just taking a quick moment. Well, Jim takes just a real quick break.
Just being all silent.
I'm sure the nerves must be through the roof at this point too. I mean, you're 3/5 of the way through this game. It's the final table. It's late. They've been playing all day. And then sometimes you get anything to kind of break things up, and it gets a little bit. It's tough.
Income.
Quick, 5-second recap of what people did.
Oh, so on my turn, I use the worker to take the market tile, and I play the market tile there.
That one.
And then I took the boat as a result.
Jim just getting caught up. I guess he had to step away for
Use this to do 2 workers.
for a second there. That's
Workers,
fine.
3, turn it into a 5.
Grabbed the chapel.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, and Jim now will be
Income.
starting going into the first round, gaining income. I forget, does anyone... Well, I don't think we've seen the monastery tile yet
Everybody
that
take a last
gives
look at
you
the tile
workers as
board.
income, or is that...
All right.
No,
I
I
don't
don't think
believe
we've
so.
seen it yet. So now you can see the players cleaning up the board, throwing all the spare tiles into the box.
All right.
For the lovely WSBG
monastery
staff, I'm
tiles
sure to
coming
sort out at the
out.
end of the game.
We have 23 in the 1 spot.
All right, so let's take a look at our monasteries.
9 in the 2 spot.
All right, so the
We
first
have
one to come out
2
was
in the
23.
3
That's
spot.
one of the ones that gives you four points for a
We
different building
have
type.
10 in the 5 spot.
We have number 9
Black market tiles
in the
can be
2
pulled.
spot.
Yeah, that's one of the ones, whenever you play a building, you can increase or decrease the pip value by 1. As I mentioned before, I don't tend to like those all that much, but again, I mean, with players trying to close out a 6 building space, they can all be valuable.
I believe that's
Oh, absolutely. And that flexibility, when you have a die roll, like, not to pick on Jim necessarily, but that die roll he had before, having that built-in 1 flexibility could have made a big difference.
Yep.
Monastery tile number 2 is the next one up, and that is the one that I actually just referenced.
Yep, you just referenced it, yep.
At income, you'll gain workers in addition to silverlings from the mines. Going into starting phase D of the 5 phases of the game, I can't see that one being picked up, if for no other reason except maybe to just complete a yellow spot.
Yep, absolutely. I think at this point in particular, you'd be really trying to prioritize the ones that might give you points. Next one we have up is 10. So again, the same, this is the die roll, but for the livestock and boat tiles. Again, seems a little late for that, given that players at this point either have, they just don't have that many, they're either not going for the animals at all, or they're fairly far along, so they just don't have that many of those tiles to place. We have 12. This is when you take a hex tile from the board, you can change the die result by 1.
Okay, so kind of a variation of that for
Yep.
taking tiles.
Yeah, again, I think these are probably a little bit late in the game for a lot of these to come out, but again, folks really want to finish those regions. The other one that came out is 25, and this one I think that's one of the ones in the middle, and that's one of the more valuable ones, so I would expect to see that one go pretty quickly. Circled there on the screen, that's the one that gives you 1 point for every goods tile that you have shipped at the end of the game. So it's basically free points for doing things that you've already done, and especially given how many boats a lot of the folks have placed, we can't really see how many tiles, how many goods tiles they've shipped, but it's probably, you know, a decent number at this point.
I think that it's fair to say usually at least 8 or 9 for people who are a little bit focused on that, and as you said, given the proclivity for boats that we see from the players here, it shouldn't be too small of a stack. Jim actually having a lot of goods
Yep.
still in his not storage area, but in his goods storage area. But yeah, that particular tile, right, 1 point per shipped good is something that both Dawn and Jim called out specifically as a tile that even if it shows up early in the front half of the game, they'll still pick that tile up.
Yep.
Whereas some of the victory point ones, they'll say, well, I'll prioritize things that are going to help me more in the immediate, but you know you're going to ship goods.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah, if you're doing it, get some extra points for it.
Yeah, so it's sort of interesting now to see. So Jim here could actually finish up his boats right now with the roll that he has. You know, it's interesting though as to whether or not he'll actually do it. I mean, it could be a good time to finish. You're obviously the first one, you get that tile. But he doesn't have a lot of good spaces to pick up goods right now, so maybe he wants to sell some of those goods first. Joey, as we also talked about in the last round, has all 3 of his storage spaces filled. Which means it might be a little bit harder for Joey to kind of jump ahead and take a tile and place it. It's going to take him at least 2 turns to pick up a boat and then place it.
And it looks like he picked up the exact tile that we were talking about there.
Yeah.
So he went from completely empty storage to grabbing 3 of the tiles that he probably most wants right
Yeah.
now.
Well, and as I think I mentioned a while ago, that is really the ideal situation that you want to be in. You want to be into a round with first player, 3 empty storage spaces, and enough silverlings to buy something out of the middle, especially because I'm sure that for a couple of those yellow tiles, they were tracking that they hadn't come out yet. And I wonder how much that influenced his decision making in the last round, too, to try to be first to have the first shot at grabbing some of those.
That is the one element of the game, as we said, there's not hidden cards, there's nothing in hand that's going to necessarily be gotchas for players who are less familiar or more familiar, but yeah, knowing those potential monasteries that can come out, knowing the feel of the distribution of buildings, right? Are we likely to see any more of the towers or any more of the banks if you're in Joey's situation, for example? Yep. That's the stuff you kind of need to be able to feel out a bit.
Well, in theory, it's all countable, but man, how much can you keep track of? And one thing I will mention too about some of those monastery tiles is the ones that are in the center always are in the center. I mean, this is not a random distribution, so that a couple of the ones that are the most valuable, you do know that they will be in the center, which means that they're buyable if you are the first player and if you have those silverlings.
You're not
Yep.
playing. You can take a nap.
Commentators take a nap.
Yeah.
When you're not playing, you can take a nap. Technically true. Sefafel did not expressly forbid it in the rulebook.
Again, and as we've established, if it's not expressly prohibited in the rulebook, it's good to go, right?
With the church.
Are you going to include that in all of your future games? Players may not nap.
Absolutely not.
Two is
Players must nap.
two.
I'm still not yet paying attention to the same time.
Two is play that, and then
And that is one of the 4-point ones, but I can't tell which one that gives, which type of building that gives some points for.
There are also some 4-point animal tiles in the black mark in the center of the board there, I noticed.
Yep.
Joey's the monastery tile he just played out is going to be for 4 points per. I think that one just added is 4 points per church.
Yep.
But
Which,
he also-
yeah, and it looks like he already has 2 churches placed, and then he also has the one in his reserve that's 4 points per bank, and it looks like he has 2 banks placed as well. So those tiles are worth quite a lot for him right now.
There's not a lot of surprise endgame scoring. Those tiles are pretty much it. 1 point per silverling
Yep.
if you still have any unspent, but
1 point per unsold good.
That's
if
true.
If you don't get around to selling your goods.
which it certainly hurts more in a 4-player game because those tiles are
Absolutely.
4 points each.
Yep, and Joey just grabbed another bank too, so that's a pretty good combo that he's got going on there. So as we talked about, we
And
think
what time is it on
Don
the East Coast right now?
might be trying to work on the that building group. As we talked about, he can sell his workers, then he can sell his dice for 4 workers, then take 2 of those workers to buy any building from the edge, which then he could really use to sort of supercharge that 6 building region.
Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Rockville, Maryland.
Yeah, Joey saying that he's from Washington, D.C., which
Yep.
where you traveled in from yourself, Connie, and well, me from Florida. So we're all on East Coast time, trying to
Yeah.
adapt to this 3-hour change here.
I said when we got in, I told my husband that I'm going to stay on East Coast time, which lasted about as long as I could until I said the end of that sentence.
It is now East Coast time, 2 in the morning. So you, if you are staying on East Coast time, then heaven bless your sleep schedule there. All right.
Okay.
Moving
Yep.
into those ships.
Yep. Trying to complete that last 4 ship space. Probably get up to the those 1 spaces to get your last castle as well.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because no one has clenched down ships yet, right?
As we talked about, Jim could. We talked about that a little bit earlier. He does have the tools, but this might kind of put the pressure on him to do it earlier than he wanted to. Otherwise, which then, as we talked about, might mean that he picks up fewer of those market tiles, leaves more for other players, or just does things out of sequence. I mean, doesn't pick up the tiles that he wants to now for fear of losing out on that bonus tile.
James Orr in the live chat. Hey, East Coaster here live. Good thing I have a horrible sleep schedule.
You and me both, James. You and me both.
Whew, poor John. With his double 5s again.
Yeah, gosh, I haven't exactly been tracking the doubles by player, but I feel like he's had more than his fair share.
Now, he does have 2 placements. I mean, 2 very easy
Yep,
placements
he
right
does.
there of what he could do. So maybe that's not the worst, but it's just
Yeah.
any time to just feel sympathy for these people. Yeah, I'll take advantage. I'll take advantage of it.
So breaking down the math a little bit, you'd expect about 1 out of every 6 dice rolls to be doubles. They roll their dice 25 times in a game of Castles of Burgundy, so I think you'd expect somewhere around 4 to 5 doubles rolls. And I feel like we've seen, maybe it's because we're looking at all players together, but I think some of the players are definitely over that by now.
Well,
Or am I totally off on my math?
I'm trying to remember. Right? Is it 1 out of 36 chance that you'll roll doubles because you have to? Well, I think it's less than that per se. It's
Well, somebody can correct us. Math isn't necessarily my strong suit.
1 over 6 times 1 over 6. I think. Right. Yeah, 36 combinations. Well, but there's 6. That's what it is. There's 6
Yep.
combinations.
So it'd be 1 out of 36 for any particular. So 1 out of 36 to roll double 5s, for instance.
That's what it is. But there
But,
are 6
yeah.
combinations of double, so you divide it by 6. You multiply 6 times 6, and then you divide it by 6. We've done it. We got
there. We got there.
1 out of 6.
But as you said also, I mean, you know, I've been sort of talking about it. We've been talking about how doubles are bad, but doubles are only bad if they're not the numbers that you need. And it sounds like here, double 5 might have actually been a pretty good roll. He's now made it up to sort of the top of the board there, where he has access to that last castle space as well.
Might he... Well, he doesn't have any workers, so he can't lock down castles yet.
Yep.
No one has taken it. Is he... I mean, I think that he's in the unique best position to at the moment. Or, I forget how Joey's... Was he adjacently touching his last castle yet?
Said he would take it. Look at he did.
No, no.
Yeah, because Joey still has a full depot. So Joey would be a couple turns away.
Yeah.
That's pretty strong. Especially if he gets that second building region completed first. I think he's in a really good spot to snag the building bonus as well.
Whew. That's true. Yeah, he's only got a few left. We're still a little early in the 4th phase of the game. Oh, jumping into the animal game.
Oh, interesting. That was surprising. I wonder if that was specifically to deny Joey from the pigs.
Oh.
Are those pigs?
I can't do that.
Well, he did not
Oh,
pass the
but
turn.
yeah, he having to decide. Yeah, he's probably not going to keep the pigs there.
Okay.
Well, and that does really bring up the question: is how aggressive do you want to play? So he decided not to go for the pigs there, which is interesting. I think there'd be a good argument to be made for taking the pigs in the hopes of putting them in that sort of lower, that smaller 2 animal space area. Because again, I think realistically speaking, you don't really want one of your opponents to fill up a 4 animal space all with the same animals, particularly because I think Joey started with a 4 pigs, so that obviously gets compounded.
He has a 4 and a 3, and so then anything he adds to that, which would reactivate those, is guaranteed 7.
Yep.
In addition to whatever new he puts out there. It's a very interesting. It's a dilemma where you see if you see early 2 animal tiles, you're like, oh, do I want to take those? It feels like you're robbing yourself, but then those tiles will go away if you don't take them. So
Right.
it's not always the easiest choice when you see that. But if you start with that 4,
Starting with that 4 is pretty sweet.
it does make for some juicy bacon.
Yeah.
And worker. Let's replace this guy on the 1. 5.
So now his
Building right here.
his sold goods are now worth extra points.
Another building. Right there.
Oh wow, nice turn. Oh, nicely done. And so Jim did indeed
5
get to the
points for blue.
completing the castles first.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 and then add another 7. Finishing my castles. Then I have a free action.
And that was just one of his dice too. So it sort of shows a good example of, or maybe that was both of his dice.
Yes, yeah,
Okay, it was,
because
yep, okay,
his
yep,
5
yep.
he spent to place the building, which comboed into the
Got it,
castle.
yeah.
That's a good turn though, and it's putting a lot of pressure on Dawn, who's
Yep.
currently the points leader, but
Yeah.
not by far, not by a lot right now.
Well, and Jim's in a good spot to clench 3 of those bonus tiles, which is 21 points. Because if he places his boat, he's in a pretty good spot to finish that, which would give him first place on 3 of the different colors. Which I wonder then if he will forfeit that other big building region as well. I wonder if that's sort of the trade-off here.
Yeah, because he still doesn't have that first one completed, so.
Okay, yeah, he played a town hall, which allowed him to basically play an extra building. So he ended up placing 3 buildings with 2 dice, plus the extra turn. So that was a big turn for him.
Sorry, I got this
I think it's to Dawn right now, who's really because Dawn is now above Joey on the shipping track. So Joey went from being first for most of the game to now being in 3rd position, 3rd
Yep.
place. And once again, that design decision, do you want the newer person on top to be able to get the benefit? It will definitely shake things up more,
Yeah.
as we're seeing now. I wonder how much that's hurting Joey. He does still have his full storage, though.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, he's just gonna have to sort of take a turn to just kind of clear that out.
Those been paid. Done.
All right, and with his free, he took the
Remember we used to get that card.
workshop, I believe is the name of that building.
It's the one that I believe provides 4 workers. Is that the one that he just took?
The Carpenter's Workshop, take a building of your choice from the board.
Yep.
It's the boarding house is the one that allows you to get 4 workers instantly, which is always just a nice injection in the workforce, you know.
So they're joking a little bit about the turn order card. Joey said, "I remember when you used to give that card to me, Don. Yeah, that was 2 hours ago."
Yeah, he's 1 ship away, and so actually now
Interesting.
Don just became first player.
Yep, which means that now he's in the driver's seat for finishing all of the boats.
And he's taking
And he
it.
just took a boat. Yep. Just the only trade-off of finishing your boats in the 4th round, well, there's sort of 2 trade-offs. So one is obviously you get that bonus tile and you finish the region, but 2 things. First of all, you will not stay first player for very long, and you probably will not be the first player going into round 5, because if somebody completes that after you, they will obviously be going first for round 5.
Yeah.
And also then you're not going to get the benefit of any of those market tiles that come out in round 5. So if you have a bonus for shipping extra tiles or shipping different colors of tiles, you've sort of taken yourself out of that competition.
Yeah, it's true. None of these depots have built up too big with the trading goods. And I think that's going to be a more common thing in a 4-player game than, say, a 2 or a 3.
Yeah.
John.
It is interesting to see the different strategies play out here. I mean, you know, because Joey's really focusing on those Endgame yellow tiles, where we see Jim sort of really racing to claim some of those bonus tiles.
And the rest of us have not. So
Thrilled about 1. Still can't believe it.
Obviously, there's 6 of those bonus tiles, and
yesterday.
for 6 different colors of buildings, and then there's a first place and a second place for each. You know, you'd certainly expect all of the first places and probably most of the second places to go in a 4-player game.
Yeah, there's.
I mean, that's the goal too. In a year, you pick of the.
Yeah, you'd think that people will kind of specialize in certain, because 7 points is a lot to just leave sitting there on the table.
You get drawn twice.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
You get to pick which one you want.
John is the one who's saying here that he was teasing the other players they can't win. None of them have rings, but John did win Cascadia last night.
Yep.
So John's second final table, second I assume, right? I don't believe that he's been at any of the other ones. At least none of the ones that we've streamed. I know that much.
Yeah, but so I think the other players are sort of saying, you can't win this one too. You can only have one.
Oh, I said that backwards. You're right. Yeah.
John was in the Cascadia final in 2023 too, which is really incredible. I mean, just sort of the consistency, the consistency of some of these players. We think of all these games as having variance, and they do, but they certainly also have very, very high skill ceilings too, and we're really seeing that play out.
Dead last. Leave me alone. Leave the little farmer alone.
Joey just said, "Leave the rural farmer alone. I'm in dead last." I don't think he's actually in dead last. He might be on the score track, but he's got some things up his sleeves.
Yeah, he took the triplet of swine there, so that's good. But yeah, he is definitely locked with a very full storage area pretty consistently.
Which again, if you can make it work, it's great. It just obviously constrains your options, so then you're just a little bit more dependent on those dice rolls.
Yeah. But if you are focusing, like you said, being a little bit more, one way to say it would be aggressive, but maybe another would be proactive, right? Making sure to proactively take what you need, because placing is, in theory, easier.
Yep.
So let's go
Yep.
to green.
And so John's sort of getting into the boat game. We were talking about he's got a couple of those market tiles that really prioritize boats and shipping. So he might be sort of trying to hang back a little bit, wait till some of the other players get done. That way he can kind of jump ahead in turn order and then maybe get some extra market tiles if they start, or extra shipping tiles if they pile up a little bit.
It's interesting he built his boat in the new sector. He didn't close off the previous one, but I assume that he's planning on getting more ships.
I would hope so. I think also after a certain point in the game too, you might be kind of looking at, well, you're not getting that many points per region that you finish. So, as the game progresses, every time you complete a region, the number of points you get, bonus points, decreases. It starts out highest in the first round, decreases. And so now that they're in the fourth round, he might really be thinking, it's more important to get the bonus from completing a 4 region than the bonus, than sort of, and basically not trying to risk not being able to complete that region by the end of the game.
Oops. So lose boat 1.
All right, so Don did indeed finish his boats. So he is the first person to complete boats and completed that 4 region in the process.
14 goes to 7.
As you said, though, the downside of that being as soon as Jim moves once on the boat track, he's, Don will, his reign as first player will be short-lived.
It will be short-lived, but maybe it's worth the extra 7 points.
4 more. 8 more. 32.
So now Don has wrapped the board, so it looks like he's got about, can't see exactly where the board starts, but they're over 100 points certainly. And we can
31, it looks like.
something like that. And we can expect scores to go to probably about 200, something like that. I'm a little bit rusty. I don't know exactly how this board scores. Some of the boards tend to be a little bit under, just right around 100, and some of them are a bit higher than that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'll admit to not knowing as much about the different boards and kind of the variance in like point totality there. But yeah, I think the best I've done was probably in the app of Castles of Burgundy. I breached 200. I know that it was a very good feeling play.
Yeah.
But then again, I was playing against I think like easy or medium AI who probably wasn't going out of the way to block me as a skilled player would.
Well, and that actually is interesting. A lot of times you think of these games that the better you are, the higher you're going to score, and sometimes it's actually the opposite. You'll basically just have more competition for anything. So if you're playing, for instance, Castles of Burgundy against 3 players who aren't very skilled, you might totally run away with it. Those mines are more valuable, you get ahead on the shipping track, and it just really compounds. Whereas if you have a game like this, they're all going to be really fighting every tooth and nail and sort of splitting the points a little bit more evenly among them.
Right. Yeah, and that's such a consideration of not just, I would like to get a lot of points, but I also would like to do that in a way where I'm not leaving as many points available for all the opponents at the table. And at what point are you willing to take a little bit less to give far less? And as you said, in a 4-player game, that's a tough decision to make.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend who's very, very competitive, who was basically saying that a lot of times what they do when they play 4-player games is figure out, they expect to be one of the top couple of players. They basically find whoever else they think is the competitor and plays a one-on-one game versus that player. Which again is dangerous.
It is dangerous.
And I don't think it would work here.
I wouldn't personally bank on it, no. Once again, it comes to that acuity, that sharpness, right, of the even if we were to speak in broad generalities, the first and second best player are going at each other's throats. The third best player is not that far behind in terms of being the third best player.
All right, so Jim's taken some time to think here.
Workers.
Okay, getting 2 workers.
1 is going to take the boat.
Okay, and looking for the last boat.
Yep. Yeah, he definitely doesn't want someone else to scoop that second place bonus.
Yeah, I believe the second place bonus in a 4-player game is worth 4 points. So obviously less than the 7, but still quite good.
I wonder. It does make me wonder if Joey here is going to try to finish off the boats at all.
Yep.
Given that, Jim put the pressure on. He's saying, no, I'm going to choose to lock down these boats before anyone else gets the chance to. In large part because John has been kind of catching up on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if it was me, at least in Joey's position, I wouldn't at this point. I mean, he's got goods there, he's got mines generating the silverlings. He also has 2 market tiles that are scoring for buildings. And again, he can place the same types of buildings in the regions as he just did here. And so I think at this point it's finishing a 2-space boat region just probably isn't worth the time. The question though is, what is he not going to do? Because he's several animals short of finishing that. He's a few tech tiles short of filling those. And then obviously he has so much riding on the buildings that he wants to fill in as many buildings as possible, but then he also wants to complete those regions.
And there's, if I saw correctly, there's still pigs in the central black market.
I believe there are, yep.
I'm sure that he has pigs and sheep in his storage, which will play nicely. But he needs to make a little bit of room to get that 4-level pig tile.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I'm actually quite surprised by this point that no one else has taken those pigs from him. I would have thought that somebody would have done it just to be a little bit defensive, or again to try to fill that smaller space.
John, I think, was going to the other round, right? But then he realized he was full up already.
Yep.
There you go, and that's the 4th castle for John there, who's going to get the 4-point bonus tile once he decides, I think, what his secondary or his bonus free action is going to be.
Yeah. And so I'm sure at this point too, the players are really counting spaces and counting actions. With some of those bigger spaces, you don't want to be one short on something. So John's going to be really looking to try to get those last 2 buildings and that last tech. And now there's a lot of trade-offs too. I mean, do you pick up any tech that you possibly can? Do you pick up any building that you possibly can just to try to complete those regions? Or do you hold out, wait till the 5th round and hope for something better?
Yeah, that's true, right? Because and once again, if you are paying attention kind of carefully, which of those tech or monastery tiles haven't come out yet, it might better serve you to hold off, because he's got that 1 space left there. Or does he take something that's on the board now that's guaranteed good?
Yep. Yep. And this is one of the most nerve-wracking parts of the game, is sort of seeing that flop and that dice roll. And with every turn in round 5, your options get narrower and narrower and narrower.
Especially because John is still in last place, even though he's done a little bit more shipping. It's not enough to kind of catch up to even Joey yet. So that flop, if that's a very attractive flop, he has to kind of sit there and brace emotionally. I'm last. Yep. I am 6 actions away from being able to take what I want.
Yeah. Well, and interestingly too, I mean, as we talked about, Dan has an incredible capacity to pick up the building tiles now with his worker engine. But he still has a lot of spaces to go. And so by waiting until the last round, that is risky, because depending on the flop, you might not even see 6 different types of buildings come out. It would be unusual, but it's certainly possible.
Right. And because he does not have that flexibility.
Correct.
That's in Joey's court.
Yep.
And Joey's used it very effectively to keep getting those banks. Every bank that he's placed out has been a free purchase from the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not great.
Oh, yeah, there you go. And then he caught that he's, he's 2nd place there.
Sorry, it's 4.
It's a 4-player game.
Yeah, we're playing
All day long.
Oh, interesting. So they're actually are they taking those bonuses now? Interesting. Okay. That must be a quirk, or we might have been playing it incorrectly, or there might be a slight variance there. We usually count those tiles at the very end of the game, but it looks like they're taking them. They're taking the victory points from those bonus tiles as they are taking them.
I wonder if that's maybe a 1st versus 2nd edition thing. I don't recall actually which way I do it.
But you caught them there say, oh, this is a 4-player game. It is indeed 4 points. Those tiles do increase in points with higher player counts.
Oof, 4 workers again. He's putting out that boarding house, which, as you said, he's he's desperately hoping that that last flop is not going to be too many repeats.
Yep.
Take Monastery.
There you go. Yep. He needs to take what he knows he can place.
Yep. Yeah, now's not the time to be fussy on those buildings, because there's only 8 types of buildings. He's got to get 6 of them. You also see in the 2 depot there, that's the, I believe it's called a tower. It's just worth 4 points. It
Yep.
tends to be the one that gets ignored until you absolutely need it.
Because every other building ability is so exciting or so quick, or just that quick injection of workers that you need, or,
Yep.
or some immediate tile grab. And 4 points is 4 points. It's fine.
Your tone of voice makes it sound like it's not quite fine.
Yeah, but if all things equal, I would love to get that in the 5th phase rather
Yep.
than in the 1st.
Well, as you know, Eurogamers love to combo things, and so straight points are always going to be less exciting than the combo piece.
Exactly.
All right. I feel like we've spent a little bit less time talking about what Jim's been doing. So I wonder what he's going to pivot into now. I wonder if he's going to start trying to do that last region, that last building region, or if he's going to maybe go into animals. It seems like he needs to do. He doesn't want to leave all of that blank. I mean, you definitely don't want to leave a 6 building space and a 4 animal space blank. So it seems like he's going to have to start filling in one or the other pretty quickly.
And we know that Don is in. He is desperately trying to get all those
Yep.
buildings finished.
2 points.
So that might hurt his options of doing so.
Although I think Don only needs about 2 more buildings, so then after that he's probably not going to take them anymore. Although I will say on more than one occasion I have taken a building that I cannot place just to deny someone else, which
Right.
might speak to me more than anything else.
You were nicer in the games that we played together yesterday, I
That's
noticed.
because we weren't competing. That's because it wasn't, there wasn't competition on the line.
And yeah, another boarding house there.
Yeah.
Getting those 4 workers is not. It's not a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
Going to the last round to making sure, like, I don't want a die roll to be the
Yep.
thing that makes or breaks my last turn.
Well, and that is one of the very trickiest things about Castles of Burgundy. Throughout the middle of the game, basically anything after about roll 3 up until about the 3 rolls from the end, you can put yourself in a very good position. Okay, there we go. The third pigs came down. But yeah, so you have a lot of flexibility in the middle of the game to basically mitigate those die rolls. But at the end, you're really in a position where you need some very, very specific numbers. So if you can come in with those extra workers going into the last round, you're setting yourself up for a lot of success.
Yeah.
Two money in the bind.
Okay.
Oh, not what I thought. Yeah, I think both of you and I are caught off guard there, huh?
Yeah. I think Joey's playing with fire here a little bit.
6, I'm gonna.
I mean, I think he's really counting on his fellow players to not draft those
I don't know,
pigs.
we're in 5 points.
5 points for black, going up to 93. I need all the points I can get to.
But I'm not sure, I'm not quite up on how many silverlings everyone has, and obviously everyone has their own objectives at this point, but the difference between Joey completing that 4-pig region and not is, completing it with another type of animal, it's, about a 20-point swing.
Oof, yeah, that is. What was the monastery tile he chose to take instead of those pigs? I'm curious. Let's see, monastery tile 12, which is. Well, whenever you want to take a hex from the board, you can modify the die number by 1 or 2. Or sorry, a positive or negative 1 is what I meant to say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. That's definitely not the move that I would have made there. Then again, I'm not in the finals at WSBG. So.
You're at this table, the adequate players of Castles of Burgundy.
All right, I'll take it.
But you said that you have actually played some tournaments of it on your own as well, right?
I have, yep.
And I think that it shows that you have a very strong knowledge and a strong just kind of read of everything going on. So it's been tremendous doing this with you.
Yeah, no, same to you. Yes, a comment in the chat, kind of hate drafts with the best of us. Yes, why? Yes, I do.
see. So, as a quick silver count update, Jim is the only person right now who has 1 silverling.
Interesting. Okay, so I bet you that was the bet that Joey was making then.
The nice rattle there.
Yeah.
By the way, huge shout out to the WSBG streaming team over here, both with Chris George and Keith Brown, who are doing the best to catch all of those moments when the dice are about to shake. So if anyone says, oh, well, that means that you have not listened to the previous 20 or the previous 19 of them.
Yep.
So, not to make fun of the one time that you hear a little bit of that, but that's I can't imagine the multiple tables that you were talking about earlier with the shaking of the dice out of nowhere.
That was pretty great though. All right, so this is the last die roll in the 4th round. So I think setting basically how the players set themselves up for the 5th and final round will be really key. Do you go in with workers? Do you grab those tiles now instead of later? Does somebody hate draft the pigs? Again, I think because of the silverling situation, it might be a little bit tough, but there are 2 players again who go before Joey, and he did make a pretty big gamble there, leaving those pigs in the middle.
And Joey himself looks like he has no silverlings either.
Interesting.
So I'm very surprised still, but that could be. That could be. Maybe he's got something up his sleeve.
Well, the one thing is that, as I said, these players do count tiles, and they can count tiles, and there are more than 6 pigs in the game. I don't remember exactly how many. I'm going to attempt to say there's more than 4, certainly. It might be 6 or 8 of each given type of animal. So if he knows that they haven't come out yet, he does probably have a pretty good sense that there are still some that will come out in the 5th round.
I think it won't be any surprise that after Don takes his turn, Jim is probably going to move into first place, right? He wants to lock down the ships.
Yep.
And this is the round to do it.
Yep, absolutely. Getting first pick of the final flop of tiles is very, very important in this game.
Okay, so you see that Don purchased with 2 more of his workers.
So 2 purples for 8 points. 2 to 4.
Those in the live chat, thank you for joining us and watching here. We're getting close into the last round, but some people saying they have to go to work and are not going to finish out watching the stream. But, well, I guess we know where your priorities are.
I mean, no, the priorities are making the money to buy more games.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, as you said, this is the moment where, for me at least, it feels like the most tension is right here. And not to say that the last phase of the game is prescribed feeling, but it really is. The last 5 turns are the results of all of your actions up to this point. And this one feels like a very monumentally important moment for a lot of our players here.
Yep, I agree. I think a lot of times too, when you see that flop in round 5 and you roll your first set of dice, you often have a pretty good sense of like, did I do the thing? or not quite.
Mines produce a worker.
Mines produce a worker. All right, so then we'll go ahead and take the mines produce a worker yellow tile.
Oh, okay.
Again, this might also just be a play at this point to sort of fill things out. It doesn't look like there's any of the tech tiles out there that still produce points. So at this point, you're just trying to find anything that might give you just a little bit of value.
Well, and we know that workers are obviously great for everybody, but for Don, particularly wonderful because as he gets to cheat the dice rolls to take, there might be only 1 building tile in the flop that he'll have access to, and by gum, I would pay 2 workers to take it, so not worry about having to roll exactly a 5 or something.
more points, or 4 more points.
Okay.
Or now it is reached stadium height.
And it looks like so Jim claimed his third tile there for finishing the
grab.
boats, as you called a moment ago,
Good.
putting him into first place going into the 5th round. And it looks like he has at least 2 free storage spaces, and we'll see what he does with the building that he has in storage right now.
Yeah, you raise a great question. We know that he wants to sell goods because he gets bonus points for each sold
Yeah.
good. And also, 1 point for an unsold good versus 4
Right.
is devastating is too strong of a word. Maybe more appropriate would be like apocalyptic, world-ending.
Well, and that doesn't even account the Silverling.
He could put out that building right now, obviously, but he's hesitating.
Yeah. Well, and I do wonder if he might even just be considering getting workers too, to really just sort of set himself up well for that last round. The building that he has there, I believe, is a workshop, which allows him to grab another building. Right now, it's just the watchtower, which, as we talked about, are one of the. Oh, I guess. All right, I guess there was a church there as well. Okay, so he did indeed place that, which allowed him to pick up the church.
Okay, and the church is the one that allows you to grab either
Mine, a tech, or a castle, and he is probably trying to finish his last few techs. I sort of see why he was hesitating there, though, because I think a lot of the point techs have already come out. So at this point, a lot of the techs that he'd be able to grab in the 5th round are largely just to be completing those last regions and to maybe be getting that tech-related bonus tile.
Yeah. No, that's a good observation. We've definitely seen a good amount of the point ones coming out, and as you say, and here we see Joey completing a single region,
Yep.
getting 2 more points than he would if he held off
Right.
another single turn, right, and entering the 5th phase of the game.
Yeah. Well, and as we've talked about, Joey spent basically this full round of 4 with essentially a full depot, so he's finally starting to clear that out a little bit. Okay, so it looks like the points right now there's a spread between 98, which I believe is Joey with 98 right now.
Yeah, Joey with 98.
Then we have 111, 118, and 140. So we have John has 111. The blue Jim has 118. And then Joey.
Dawn. Yeah, Dawn currently in the lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll buy the one. I'll use the one.
Well, and Don still hasn't completed that last building region too, so that's gonna be a big infusion of points in the last round.
Yeah, a 6-point region. That's nothing to ignore there. 21 points.
Yeah.
Plus
2 more.
2 bonus points, in the last phase.
And that 7-point tile, so.
Take it from the board. Take it from the board.
Because I think he's certainly gonna be the first one to complete his buildings.
That's the one. That's the.
So it'll be, what, roughly another 30 points or so?
Yeah, as we look through, as we kind of go into the last round, I'm curious to see, just do a quick gut feel check, who's got a lot of end game points coming and who doesn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so John definitely has some good end game points. He has that tile that we talked about at the beginning that gives him points for different types of goods shipped. Again, he hasn't done a lot of shipping, so we'll sort of see what he manages to do in the last round for that. He also, I think, has 2 other scoring tiles for 2 different types of buildings. And he is 1 away from that 6 building space as well. So I think it's going to be a race between, I think, him and Don to finish that building space.
Dawn does have the advantage of turn order. That's one of the hardest things that I think John has to be aware of. And I think I said all those names correctly. John in the bottom right, player 1, is still last in turn order.
Yeah. And has played from that position for the whole game and is doing quite well with it.
He's in a good position, as you said, going into this. So you don't have to race for turn order. You don't have to
Gonna do income.
Yeah, you know, I mean, and he has those bonuses for ships,
Wait for a second.
for boats,
Everybody else
and
needs to go
he's
down
only
around.
placed out 2 of them.
Well, and you know, one of the things about Castles of Burgundy too that you do have to be careful with is sometimes you almost set your goals a little bit too low and you finish earlier on, and so you basically don't have anything to do with the second half of your 5th round. And so by giving himself that sort of miniature boat engine, he might actually be setting himself up for a really nice second half of the round as well.
That's fair, because sometimes you complete everything you set out to do, and you say, well, 3 more turns, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So while they take a quick break here, a quick breather, I believe that we have a word from one of the sponsors of the World Series of Board Gaming, Renegade Games, about one of the games that's actually coming up in tomorrow's stream of finals is going to be Acquire. So let's cut to a quick ad here.
What's up, board gamers? Now you can compete in the World Series of Board Gaming from the comfort of your own home. Introducing Board Game Arena official tournaments, where you can win your way to WSBG 2026. Head on over to BoardGameArena.com and sign up for one of our free tournaments for a taste of the action. Plus, join the official WSBG group so you can be notified anytime a new tournament drops. There's no better way to practice for the main event. And hey, you want to lock in your 2026 spot at the best possible deal? Well, head on over to WSBGVegas.com and use the code EARLYBIRD at checkout for an exclusive limited time offer. Don't just watch the action. Come be a part of it. Your journey starts now. Visit WSBGVegas.com for more details.
Well, I certainly learned something, and that is that I need a shot of whatever Bonzonator had when she was
me
doing that
too.
Pete Townsend whirlwind up there on the, on the stage there. But I'm honestly pretty excited. I don't want it to sound bad. More than I thought I was going to be going into this last phase of the game here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen some very different strategies, and I'm excited to see how they play out. You know, it looks like we have kind of 2 players. John and Dawn are kind of competing to be first to complete the buildings, and they're, again, as we talked about, completing those regions are going to be 30 or so points. We have Joey, who's probably desperately trying to complete those animals. I'm assuming that he counted the pigs, and so there are more pigs to come out. And then we have Jim, who's doing a little bit of everything. So I would assume he's going to try to complete at least one of his building regions, probably complete his techs, sort of see what comes out there. And then maybe play spoiler on some of the animals.
It'll definitely be interesting to see, yes, what animals get flopped, and then if there are any of those scoring monastery or tech tiles still left in here.
I think all of the ones that have come out have gotten claimed, but there might be 1 or 2 of them left.
Grab your income if you have not. Boards.
And they're back. That was a pretty quick break. They're in it for the final round.
And back to income here. I think Dawn. He took. I don't think that he built the monastery that gives him workers. Did he?
I don't think so.
As part of income.
Right.
No. So had he, that would have been a little more flexibility worker-wise, but probably low priority, like you said,
so,
just
yeah.
a tile that ultimately needs to get slotted.
16. And
Oh,
the
he
2 slot
has what, just the 2 slots left, the 1 on the right side and 3 in the top there.
Yep, and then the 1, yep.
And 20
So-
in the 5 slot.
Let's see. Okay, so we do have, it looks like one of the monasteries came out.
Buildings and
That
black
is the
market can
scoring.
go
That's the
out.
one in the 5 slot there, and then the one in the 3 slot looks like it's one of the scoring ones as well. And oh wait, do we have 4 scoring
one.
monasteries out?
24.
24.
You do.
Wow. Okay.
Going out.
Another one right there in the in the black market in the middle. That appears to be.
Animals.
There's
Yep.
triple pigs in the middle there of the monastery of the black market. I'm sorry.
Yep. Okay, so the monastery tile that came out in the middle there is 4 points per different type of animal that you have at the end of the game. So that's where your sort of spoilers for animals could come in, especially because a couple of the players are very clearly not trying to finish their animals. So it might be just sort of, you grab that tile, then you grab any animals that you can, and then each animal tile that you place is going to be, you know, a minimum of about 6 points, 2 animals, plus assuming it's a new type, 4 more for that.
Yeah, and we've got, yeah, so Joey's got pigs there down in depot number 4. It's only 2 pigs. So, yeah, that's interesting, right? Because he would have had 2 more had he spent the silverlings to get the 4 pigs, but
Yeah.
is that worth it? I mean, maybe he did count that out. That's
Yeah, I would assume, my best guess is he probably counted that out, or I think he probably would have prioritized the pigs a little bit more. And I mean, it's harder when we're looking kind of at 4 players, but for him, you know, he locked in on those pigs so early that I think it was probably pretty easy for him to track, you know, how many were left.
I'll admit that I've lucked into nice things, but I assume that the players at this level are more cogent of those types of of those important decisions. And yeah, if it was in the first, I think it was the first phase of the game, right, that he put out those 4 pigs, and then he just kind of let them sit there for a long time, basking in the sun, rolling around in the slop, you know, just living their best piggy lives.
Yeah. So we got Jim with some more doubles here. And as I said, I think of all of the players at the table, he's probably the one who has kind of the most options at this point. I think everyone else is very much locked into their specific objectives. I think he has a couple directions that he could go in. And he seems to be very much sort of taking his time, kind of figuring out what to do with that.
Yeah, he is score-wise. I can't see his score tracker for some reason. Yeah, Joey's the one who's at 98. Oh, wow. We can't see it because he is tied right now underneath red. So they're both at 128 points. And if we're assuming, that at least the winner will be breaking 200 here, which is not too far-fetched because green player, who is Dawn, you know, once he plays out that last building, we said we're assuming about in the 30, range of 30 points.
Yeah. And again, that's not including the monastery tiles, which have obviously been in hot contention, and as we talked about, 4 of them just came out this round. I'm assuming this was not the dice roll he was looking for based on the reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, the pair of 4s is tough. I mean, it's tough for his placements, and I'm assuming that if he was trying to sweep up a couple of those monastery tiles, they're just not on the 4 space.
You don't want it. Yeah.
4 goats.
He's buying an ox. Okay.
Spend a worker. Turn this 4 into a 3, and take these goats.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So from Jim's position, you know, what is he going to do in the last round? It seems like he's certainly going to ignore that last 6 building space, which means he wants to fill in essentially the rest of his board. So trying to be very aggressive on those animals makes a lot of sense. He already has a couple of the oxes, so it looks like he's going to really try to gun for that 4 space. Nice. And he does have that extra monastery tile that gives him +1 animal for each animal he places.
Yeah, and that's going to be, that's true, and that will just kind of augment. It was +1 point the first time it was the goats were activated.
Yep.
2 bonus points this time. So yeah, he's definitely.
Yeah, it's a big swing if he gets there.
Yeah.
But he has, I mean, there's 2 more, it looks like there's 2 more of the goats on the board, the one in the 1 space and then the one in the depot in the middle. And again, so far at least the players haven't really been hate drafting, so. And again, they all have their own objectives too. So Don has the last building that I thought he had the last building that he needs. He does not have it.
He does not, but I believe he has the workers to pay for it. I think he's got a little, at least a short stack there.
Well, then he also has the ability where he can turn a dice into workers and then spend the workers for a building. So as long as there's a matching building somewhere around the edges, I believe he should be able to pick it up.
Yeah, there's yep. We'll do the. Yeah, see which of the unique buildings that he's.
Yeah, it's hard
Got
to,
room
it's hard
for
to,
left.
yeah.
The workshop, the watchtower are available, or the bank to him.
Yeah, so those are the three he's looking for, and I think we know the banks are gonna go quickly because of Joey's ability. Okay, there's no banks, so I guess he's limited to the workshops or the watchtowers. Are there watchtowers? I don't even. Is there? Whoa, there's no watchtowers either. So the only building that he could pick up right now is a workshop. So I think in his spot he's got to prioritize that.
Right, because if he lets it go, then John is very much in the position to be able to take that out.
Yeah.
The only downside is that the carpenter's workshop ability is you may grab another building tile, which
Maybe he
is-
can play spoiler.
That's true. Yeah, if he's fine eating up a spot.
Yeah. I mean, right now I think he also just needs to take. I mean, he should grab one, but there are 3 on the board right now. So let me put it this way: I would not be bold enough to let that go by at this point.
Oh no. I want that first person to finish that color. I don't think he. Or no, he took the ship one. I think right. He took the ship victory point tile.
Okay, and it looks like John also needs workshops as well. So John needs a workshop, a market, or a bank. Again, there's no bank, so either or one of the workshops or a market. Okay, yep. So
Okay.
he's taking the workshop. Okay. Because again, you just don't want to be caught with 5 of 6 buildings. I mean, I think that's an auto loss if you don't end up filling that space when you've committed to it like that.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
Plus 7 makes it even
Yeah.
30. It's getting way too late for math. 40 to 70.
30 points. It's too late for math.
Well, yeah, we could decree that everyone just gains points in tens at this point for the simplicity of our judges.
Round
and
into the
for-
nearest 10.
Yeah, exactly. I'm fine with that. Oh, you earned 2 points? Sorry. All right, Joey with a pair of 2s. He can, of course, finish and close out that last region there.
Yeah.
He can throw the sheep into
Yeah.
there, and that's with no modification or anything. He appears to have no workers right
Yeah.
now.
But he can certainly buy from the middle, I believe.
Yeah.
So it seems like maybe he picks up one of the tech tiles, places those sheep, and then buys the pigs out of the middle.
Buying pigs from the middle. So those were, yeah, that was a little.
Yeah.
So he's safe now. He has every animal that he'll need for the rest of the game.
Yep. Oh, it looks
He-
like, he also has the 2 for the building spot as well, so he could finish that building region with his watchtower.
Yep.
But yes, as you said, he has all of
Like the sheep.
the animals that he needs for the game.
That's 7 plus whatever that size is.
7 is going from 98 to 5. Proved Jordan wrong. You do need your 100 chip after
I was
all.
gonna mention it.
We got there.
But that
Yeah,
was
Joey
not-
doesn't sound like he's
you
too
also
confident
guarantee two
in his
and two
position
are-
right here.
No. And I know he was feeling a bit under the weather going into this game too, so I'm sure it's tough. Pam asking in the chat if Dom didn't take a building tile from his carpenter's ability. I do not believe he did so. I believe he just took it with his dice.
Yep, he took it from the 5 depot with the die and then placed it with the 3 and a worker.
I wonder if that was looking at other players' workers as well. Although it does seem like turning it in, getting the spare workers, and still taking the tile would have just been strictly better.
2 and 2, 3.
Yeah, that's true. You're as you mentioned, having the excess workers. Two leftover workers is 1 point, I think, at the end of the game.
Yep.
So if nothing else, that might have just been just one little
Points for watchtowers.
point there. Yeah, well, I'll remember that next time that I have both of those monastery tiles together.
I was gonna say, I feel slightly proud of myself there. He did indeed place the sheep with his 2 and pick up a market tile with his other 2. So
Yeah, he's not playing a poor game. You know what I mean?
absolutely not. None of these guys are playing poor games.
Yeah, and so I think that it's sometimes you're hard on yourself when you see someone kind of leaping ahead like that.
Yep.
But he did pick up a good number of those scoring endgame scoring monasteries.
Yep.
Will it be enough is a big question when you're kind of sitting on the opposite side of the score track on the board at 100, 110 to 170.
Yeah, but with them scoring those completion tiles in real time, there aren't going to be. I mean, I think Joey's going to have the biggest end game points by far.
Mm.
That's sell the 6.
Yeah. The other thing too, I mean, Joey obviously has all the animals he needs. That last pig placement for him will be big because it'll complete a 4 region plus all of the animals. He's also 1 away from a 6 building space as well. So he has a lot of sort of banked points that aren't on the board right now, but it will really shoot him around that track when he completes those regions.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And yeah, and as we said, every little point counts. So 4 bonus points from his monastery for activating 4 pig tiles there. Yeah, that adds up quick.
I got my notes.
Alright.
Duplicates again for Jim.
Yeah, I know. I feel like Jim's just gotten hammered by them.
Are those double 4s again?
Yep. He's rolled 4 4s in a row. Which again, I don't think they were the numbers that he wanted before, and I can't imagine they're the numbers he wanted now.
But this time they'll work. Oof.
Oh, poor Jim. You can see his head. He has his head in his hands there. And I've had games of Castles like that where it's just you have everything. I mean, oof. That's tough with the numbers that he needs to. Looks like he's really looking for a 1, 2, and a 6 right now. Yeah.
He has 1 open storage slot.
Mm-hmm.
With that 4th depot, I don't know what he would want from there.
Yep.
It might be a time to just kind of let this one go and grab some workers.
Yep.
Okay, so he's buying the goats.
Mm-hmm.
Goats don't want to go anywhere near a 4, unfortunately.
No.
And goats will eat anything. At least they'll nibble. What I've learned is that they'll taste anything.
Yep.
They don't
yep.
necessarily continue to eat the thing, though. Yeah, well, he's got 2 workers right now.
Oof. I mean, you might just have to eat it. Turn in 1 dice for workers. Spend the 2 workers to place something on a 6.
He's got trade goods values of 1 and brown is the 5.
5, yeah.
So
Yeah. Could plan to try to buy a second tile from the middle or just get the points in the silverlings. Because, yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, he just really needs to place those animals.
And I don't think he gets any of the bonuses when he trades in dice for workers.
No, I don't think so.
Because there's the monastery that gives you obviously extra workers that Dawn has, but there's also the one that gives you a silverling when you do so, and that can be a really nice ability when you say, well, I have to do this anyway, so at least I'll get a point or basically a free buy out of it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's easy too to sort of dismiss, especially from commentary, like, oh, that building's not very valuable. But like, sort of dismissing the one that lets you place an animal plus or minus 1 space. Boy, that would be helpful now,
Oof, yes. He is really torn on this turn, and for good reason.
For good reason, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, no one wants to see double 4s twice in a row.
Okay, so he's definitely taking workers with
Yep.
one of them. And
This type of 5. Sell these goods.
Yep.
okay, selling goods.
Selling the goods with the 5, yep. So now I believe he'll have 3 workers going into the next round,
6.
hoping for something closer to the 1s or 6s that he needs.
And there'll only be 3 turns left in the game at that point. Oh yeah, is he hoping to get more done than that? Obviously, the 1 building
Yeah.
and the 2 animals.
I mean, I think in theory he would have liked to have really completed the rest of those tech tiles as well, but I think that might, unfortunately, with those rolls, be out of reach right now.
He does get 2 silver instead of 1 because he has that monastery. So yeah, his sales are upgraded. That's it's not bad.
Take workers.
But I don't believe there are any additional monastery tiles in the center right now, which would probably be the other thing that he'd be trying to do. Yeah, so unfortunately the center tiles don't do him a lot of good right now.
Yeah, holding on to 2 points for the end of the game is still.
Yep.
Yeah, if he needed to take the workers anyway, or if he needed some action to do, I mean, getting those points, getting a few bonus points on top of points.
Yep.
You got the big goats. You got the multiple buildings, the same buildings.
Alright, so Don now has finished his buildings.
No way to stop those.
He has 1 pig in his depot, and then he has the last 2 tech tiles that he needs to complete all of those.
Yeah, Jim's saying he's right now on the score track. He's the guy at 170.
Yep,
He's the
yes,
one that
yep.
all eyes are on in terms of the immediate. But Jim's got goats. He's got that
Yep.
last goat tile. He'll close out a 4 hex space.
And I believe he also has the extra, the ones that boosts the animals, is that correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, he's the one who has that monastery.
Yep.
Joey, as you mentioned, he's 1 away from building the 6th building space, and
Yep.
he's got pig points coming out of his ears here. So it is tighter than it looks.
Yep.
Guess 13.
Okay.
So 13 goes to 23. Size for 10 plus 2 for 12. Puts you at 35. Unfortunately, still no, you're not.
Alright, so that was certainly a good turn for Joey. He completed his pigs. And then ratcheted ahead of Jim and John on the point track right now. And as we talked about, Joey does have still has one away from a 6 building space, and then does have those monasteries that are scoring a decent number of points at the end.
So 21 points guaranteed from that building, plus the 2 bonus, so 23 there. Yeah, I wonder if Don is gonna. Does Don have any big moves left in him? Right.
Well, as I said, the interesting thing though is, I mean, Don was the one that told us coming in that he almost didn't sign up for Castles of Burgundy, and so whether or not he pulls this game out, he's certainly in it to the end.
He's earned his place, and there's no doubt that all of these guys going into the finals, obviously they're skilled players, and seeing the things that they're doing, you can kind of tell why. Yeah, there's a lot of good play left to be had here.
Yep. All right. So obviously John placing that monetary. Okay, so now he has all of his 6 yellow tiles out.
Sign this chips. 32.
Oh, interesting. A little fact. World Series of Board Game in History. 2023's champ, Castles of Burgundy champ, and the 2024 champ both won the entire event, the first place.
So are we getting a preview then to the 2025 champ?
You
You heard it here.
I think it's mathematically proven. We're beyond theories at this point. It's a paradigm shift in our understanding of the universe.
Okay, well, good news is Jim rolled a 3 and a 2, which is still not the 1 and the 6 he was looking for. But it's not the double 4s again. But I'm sure he was just really, really hoping for something different right now. Like I said, I'm really curious as to what John's going to do, too. again, he's got all those shipping techs, and I'm just sort of, I'm waiting for that to happen. You know, the shipping tiles are starting, you know, there's a decent number of them on the board right now, so I'm wondering if now's the time when he starts kind of picking up and shipping some of those.
It's a bit less conversational around the table, you can tell at this point.
Yeah, you can tell it's really tense. I mean, the players just sort of have their heads down and everything. I mean, they've been at this for a while, but I think here's sort of the time when they find out if all their plans made it or if they fell just a little bit short.
This is not one of those games where, as you said, sometimes players are set up so well that they finish 2 or 3 turns in and they go, oh, I don't know what to do with the last 2 rounds.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like that. These players are trying to eke out everything they can.
Yep. So Jim just completed that 6 building region, which is good. I mean, that was definitely on his list of things that he needed to do.
Unfortunately, he's the 3rd person. Oh, no, sorry. He's not done with all of the buildings yet. But he needed to finish that. That'll be what keeps him in.
Yep. And then he picked up a monastery, which makes sense. I mean, that is the thing that he could maybe try to complete that 3 monastery, or the three yellow space on his board there.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna need some pretty decent die rolls to do it.
I will place that.
Okay.
Oh, he has the
Yeah.
2 out, yeah.
Another 8.
Yeah.
67.
6 in the bonus 2 points.
Yep. So he'll have 4 dice left and 2 kind of must-do actions. It looks like he has at least 1 worker left. That's reasonable. I'm sure that going into this round he probably wanted to place that last monastery as well, but I think that's probably off the table right now unless he rolls absolutely perfectly.
Well, he also has the good, the sales good. He probably would not mind selling off, but that's another
that's a good
1.
point. Yep. Plus his 2 silverlings from that as well, so it would go from 1 point if it was left over to 6 points if he sells it. So.
And it's interesting, as we point out, right? One of the famous features of Castle Burgundy, the 1 to the 6 wrap around. So he's looking for 1 of the 6, which are technically adjacent neighboring numbers. So 4s are just
Yeah.
not what he wants to see anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's still, at least from our vantage point, there's still a lot of movement to happen on the score track. Joey's got about 20 points or so in bonuses, depending on exactly how he plays this last round. Jim, assuming he places his last couple of pigs, will get pretty decent number of points from placing those, another 20 or 30 points from those. And then Tim also has a couple of those scoring market tiles as well, but I'm not sure exactly which those are.
Yeah. He needs that 1 and that 6. Otherwise his goats are just sad and separated. We don't want to see that. That's not the type of thing we like to see here at the World Series of Board Gaming.
And if we were much better at math than we were, we could figure out the odds of him making it. I think they're pretty good, though.
As you say, 4 dice. Oof. You're definitely wishing that he could have maybe got that 3 and that 6 monastery spot filled in, just some little extras here and there, but.
Yep, or maybe a couple buildings. It looks like he has points for workshops.
2.
And yeah, he has the tech tile for one good for each good sold. So as we were talking about, that delta there from selling his last good is actually a little bit higher than we were talking about before.
Yep.
We see the player, the card of first player getting passed across the table.
Whew.
All right, so Joey's really looking to probably complete the rest of his monasteries, and he's certainly looking to complete that 6 building space. Again, requiring it 2, so the 6 is probably not ideal.
Yeah, two workers away, whereas it being one worker away from that yellow space, the monastery space, but
Take this.
he could also use to take that.
Use 5 and a worker.
Yep, as you said, one away.
Yeah, a watchtower yellow.
Okay, yeah, he could have, so that he has the yellow 12 tile.
Yeah.
One up the track.
Yeah.
Yes, so that he has that built-in plus or minus 1 flexibility.
Yep.
I haven't been using it.
I gotta remember you ever taking it.
Apparently I'm not a very good engineer tonight.
So we got the table claiming they're not engineers,
Yeah,
they're not
yeah.
architects.
But they are very good gamers.
Alright, I am selling.
So John does have the last building that he needs in his storage to complete his 6 building region, which would also have him be second to complete his buildings.
4 points.
Yeah.
32 to 36.
So that's true, second place is still out there.
Yeah, but he's got that locked in. I mean, no one else is really competing for it,
yeah,
so it's
I'll take
probably a little bit of a lower priority
Yeah.
now that he has that building
Okay, now
reserved
I'll
in
take the third.
storage.
Second time
Yeah.
I was gonna say something.
Thank you.
Honest Jim. That's what we're here about. That's what the tournament's all about, right?
Yep.
There you go, little
Yeah,
joviality back in the conversation. All right, Jim. 1 and a 3, still not close, too close to that 6, unfortunately.
No, but at least he's getting, he got the 1 at least.
6. Good.
Yeah, wrong die rolled a 6, unfortunately.
Yep, yep.
1 is going to place. Which one should we do? Right
The 3
there
or the
is
3?
4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Yep.
Yep, that monastery can
You're up to 81. Yeah.
pay off pretty well.
Wow, yeah.
181, he steals
Yeah.
the lead.
Well, and he's still got those last goats to place, which will be what, another 18 plus 10 plus 2?
3 is right I was looking for.
That'll be about, 30 points there with 1 placement if you can ever get close to a 6. But I believe.
I believe.
Do the old Ted Lasso, right? Believe.
So I think the question now is just how ambitious does he get? You know, does he try to grab 1 more tile in the hopes of placing it?
Actually, I was like,
Because it's what? He's got the 2 silverlings, so he could buy 1, but...
Nothing that really gets him a lot.
Yeah, there's the 1 building, which is the only thing that he could genuinely actually place, right? Mines and ships are just, they're done for him. So I
Right.
have to assume he's going to hold on to 2 points.
Yep.
And it's not like at this point other players are chasing the mines. I don't think all of the closing bonuses are taken, or both of them, I should say, for mines already. So
Yeah, I mean, I suppose he could be looking at what other players need to, specifically with regards to, I mean, I don't know if anyone else needs an animal still. I think anyone who is going for completing buildings sort of has what they need at this point. So it's just a question if there's anything he can do on the board to eke out 1 or 2 more points. I mean, I think that's about what we're dealing with at this point.
yeah, there's. There's the mulling over, right? How valuable are workers right now?
Well, and as we talked about, him shipping that last good is extra valuable for him, so it would be what? 4 points plus the 2 silverlings plus that bonus tile, so it would be 7, so it would be a 6-point delta from selling that. So he really has, I think, 2 things he wants to do on his last turn.
Wants to place the goats, he wants to sell, right?
Yeah, so it does seem, I think if I was in his position, I would be definitely taking workers at this point to try to do those 2 things
Yeah,
very
'cause-
specifically with
Yeah, because they're going to be the best odds. Excuse me, as you said, if he could eke out 1 or 2 points doing something else, but that guaranteed 5, 6 points there's it's too. I would feel uncomfortable risking it.
Yep.
Especially because I don't know what risk he could take that might actually pay off anything at this point.
The only other thing that I can possibly think of is there something that he could block from somebody else? You know, and is that going through his head? He has a 3 though, so I'm not sure what the other options are. This is where I would love to get into their heads, just to know what he's thinking, because I'm sure he's got something that he's mulling. Oh, interesting. Okay.
He did it. He did it. He took. That one is the. Which building is that? The.
Okay. Oh, the boarding house
The
for
boarding
workers.
house?
Oh, okay.
Or wait, I could tell you if
Does
that's
anyone
worth-
need that?
I can-
Because the issue is by buying that, he could place it in the next round to get 4 workers, but that would take one of his 2 dice actions to place.
Or he's placing it this turn?
Oh, interesting. Oh, I think he has the scoring tile for the boarding house. So it's 4 points. So he essentially spent the 2 points to get the 4 points back and the workers.
Yeah, that's right. Because he bought it with the silver, not with his
Yeah.
his second
Yeah.
die.
3, 1.
So he found a way to gain
Just a
extra
couple of
workers.
points. Yep. Yep.
So while getting points. So that
Yep.
yeah okay.
Well, showed us.
Yeah. And that's why we're seated here.
Exactly. Which, by the way, I very much prefer to be on this side of the table, I think. At least with this amount of pressure.
I would have to assume, should our roles have been reversed, Jim would be looking at any of my plays saying, wow, he's got to have some special reasoning, something that he's mulling over, and it's just me going, I don't know.
All right. And a real quick turn. There from Don.
Let me use 3 and worker to play the watchtower.
Yep.
Okay.
Makes sense.
What
Completing that big
Mine's
region.
42 to 46.
It's a size
23 more. So we're at 69.
69.
4 points for the watchtower itself.
Yep. Plus the region. Yep.
The region and the bonus. Yeah, that's not bad.
Nope.
Remember, not too many turns ago, he was on the opposite side of the
Right.
board there at 110
Yeah,
points.
you said that it felt bad looking at the opposite side of the board, and yet somehow he's right in the mix. It's just a question of if his endgame points will get him there. Alright. Yeah, so John definitely wants to place that last building, obviously, but he doesn't have a lot of pressure to do it. You know, he probably wants to place his animals, just, you know, he completes a 2 region, gets a few points for the animals, even though they are mismatched, so you don't get that extra bonus.
Right.
And then it's just a question of what does he do with his, that gives him a couple of workers left over, or a couple of dice left over.
Or in a sell this.
4 points for red.
Makes sense? He's got all those bonuses for selling.
6 to 40.
Coins.
Yeah, you got it that time.
Yeah.
Yep, so because of that monastery he got the worker will he sold instead of just the silverling.
Item 1. Order to 6.
Yeah, he's just going to close off the buildings now.
Yep.
There.
Sometimes if the dice is close enough, it's close enough.
23.
Right. Yep. Why toy with it into the last round?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that need your buildings as well, correct?
Yes.
So 4 more.
You can sort of see that
I thought you were gonna say
collegiality
3
again.
more. I got it right.
With Jim
I
sort of
did get it right that time. I'm
reminding
very conscious of it.
reminding John that that tile was still available.
Yep. And then he, because of that last placement, was able to grab a building tile. He
Yep.
took one and said, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, neither of the other players are in striking distance of that, of getting the second person to finish all their buildings. So
Yep.
no direct threat there, but still, like you
Yeah.
said, that just these four around the table have been very, very cordial, very nice, and I bet as soon as this is done, there's just going to be that huge sigh of relief, and whoever wins, because they're all playing very well, I foresee.
By the way, that roll from Jim was about the worst possible roll he possibly could have made. I think he can still do it. He can still get his goats placed, but it feels like for him this has just been the worst possible rolls.
Yeah, the dice that just would not comply.
Yeah, I mean, I still think he gets there though. I mean, it's, he really, really wanted to be able to sell the goods and complete the goats, and I think this means he can only do one of the two. That was literally the worst possible roll I think that he could have rolled.
Yeah.
Like I think double fours would have been equally as bad, or that's about as bad as it could have possibly been. I think he still has those locked up though, because he is going to jump pretty far ahead with that goat completion, so I'm not sure if anyone else can actually still catch him, even so.
Whew.
Oh, that is brutal.
Oh.
You just said dice or dice?
Dice or dice.
Dice or dice?
18 for the cows, or goats or whatever they are.
18 blue, so it's 99.
9 plus another 12.
All right, so we have a first person to breach 200 points.
Yep.
Sitting now at 211.
Yep.
Whew.
Yeah, and he's got a few bonus points too, so he'll probably be in, we said sort of that 200, 220 range. Seems like he's certainly going to get there. Even with the dice that would not cooperate.
And now, unfortunately, I think that he only has one worker left over.
Yeah.
Because if he had two, his choice would be probably pretty simple.
Yeah, because I think if he had two workers left, he could obviously sell that last good, but just can't quite get there. So as you said, I think it's just workers. Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
But you said though, if that gap, if that was enough to pull him into a lead, that he'll look at that and he'll say, all right,
Yeah, yeah.
I still don't like these dice. I don't have to like you, I just have to love you.
Yep. Alright, so Don completed that small 2 animal region, 2 mismatched animals, so not ideal, but again, at this point you're just kind of taking whatever points you possibly can.
Do a 3, the worker to sell.
Yep, selling that last good as well.
4, 95 to 99.
Oh, actually, are those?
Oh, I guess those
might
are
be
both
matching
pigs.
animals,
Yeah, never mind. Those are matching animals.
Good. Hey, I mean that was yeah. You noticed that you had a good jump in points there, so
Yep.
that's nice.
Yep. So that's then it would be 6 extra points instead of 2 extra points if they had been mismatched. All right, to Joey. He can certainly place his last yellow tile there, and then I'm not sure. I'm assuming he has
6
the workers
silver.
to sell one of his goods as well.
To play the yellow, and it's 8 points. Up to 77.
Man.
Yeah, he was all the way around the board just a few turns ago.
Sell this for 4 points and a coin.
Points for black would be 81.
And again, we do know that he has about 20 points in bonus.
You were
I
right,
don't
that
think
was
he
a bad
has
roll.
30
I was-
though in
I was
bonuses.
very focused.
Right, especially knowing that that all players do have some at least endgame potential.
Yep.
Kudos once again to the judges here who are
Yep.
at the table, judiciously watching everything going on and trying to make sure that things flow properly. And it is hard to
That will turn into a
as long as this game has been as a player, but also to be a judge and to watch everything and to just try to keep that, just keep everything properly happening.
Yeah, it looks like Joey was trying to combo one last piece there with the last castle. If he had gotten the correct dice roll, he could have pulled and placed one more castle, which would have comboed off and gotten him a few more points, but didn't quite get the dice roll to do it.
Joey earlier did say, sort of consoling Jim a little bit. I didn't get a great die roll either.
Yeah.
It was enough, but it wasn't not ideal.
Yep. Now we have John picking up 3 market tiles with 1 chip placement.
Minus, right now, 3 points.
Playing for 3 points, he says. He could have sold one of those goods for
That's it. Mine's produced.
5, but I'm not sure if he had the right number.
You might not have had quite the right number.
But yeah, they're 1 point each when they're sitting there on the side, unsold. So
Actually,
3 points and 3 points basically was the last
I
move.
want you to have your work
Yep.
hard.
And they do collect their income at the very end of the game, so that's what they're doing now, is they're collecting their last silverlings, and in Don's case, the workers from his mines.
Shake now.
Again, very cordial, and now the moment of truth.
Also, there are leftovers. So we do that. So I have 3, 4, 5, 6, going from 11 to 17.
Yep, so it's 1 point per each leftover
Dom.
silverling, 1 point per unsold goods,
How much
and 1
money do
point
you
per
have
every
there?
2 leftover workers.
4 money, 2 workers.
For 5. So at 204. John?
Yep, I got 3 tiles and 1 money.
4.
Got 5 money, 4 tiles.
9.
9.
90. Okay. Sciences. Told you. I have 4 points for one of these buildings. 21. And then I have points for sold goods. 8. And 29. That's it.
All right, so Jim's total is 229.
Done.
Can anyone catch him?
So
What do you think?
40
That might be it, but it
warehouses.
depends.
I have 2 of those for 8.
8 goes up to 12.
Ooh.
The
Is that that?
boarding houses.
Worker
I
buildings.
have 2 of those
For 8.
All right.
That's your 20.
That's 20.
That's it.
That's all she wrote for Dawn.
Wow, it's certainly close though. He certainly showed that he deserved to be at this table, and I'm glad he ended up entering this tournament.
5 types for this, that's 10 points.
4. Sorry, red. It's at 89.
We'll do this one next. I have 2. It's 8.
8 goes to 90. Oh boy. 97?
Hey, it's not just us.
Animals, that's another 8.
Okay, we're going 97 to 5.
And
Okay,
then
so
9 points for that.
This is really a very, very close game.
Joey?
Someone tell Jordan that I'm going to pass 200.
I'm just gonna get it constantly now.
Yeah, you're never gonna live that
yeah.
down.
I have
Years from now, Jordan. You're not gonna-
bank, watchtower, and church that have points, so there's 6 of them, so 24.
6. And you have 1, 2, 3. So 24 goes to 114. And is that it?
So
whew.
All right, so Jim does pull it out,
Final
but it was a close
scores.
game.
John 214.
Good job.
John, great game, guys. Wow.
Dawn
It's very
220.
Very tight.
Jim
The elk, last turn.
229.
What's that?
The elk last turn. It's huge.
Oh yeah, I was.
That hit for you.
And Joey.
Well, I knew, but I
214.
thought I needed. I didn't know if I needed to sell these. I'm
Does that
too
sound
tired
right to everybody?
do all the math.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Tiebreaker is empty.
empty, most empty.
I have
9.
9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So
I get
Joey.
third.
you got
Sounds like they're discussing tiebreaker for
John 4th.
third and fourth.
Well done. Well,
All right.
All right,
tomorrow
Ed,
morning,
It's a great game.
for those who are feeling up to it,
Amazing.
Yep.
That was despite die rolls, despite 3 rolls in a row of
Yep.
what he did not seem to want to get there.
Yeah, Jim still got there, but I mean, just that, even that raw score was really high too. I mean, 229 is a really, really good score,
Absolutely.
especially with 3 bad dice rolls in a row.
Oh well, he deserves to feel elated right now. Jim was the one who lost to Angela 2 years ago when he was in the finals for Castle of Burgundy, and as we've discussed, statistically, very likely that he'll be going
More
marching right
than
to
likely.
the
I
finals.
mean, as I said, it's certain, right?
Yeah, it's basically mathematical certainty. Folks, it is a late night for all of us here and for the people behind the scenes running things, like I said, who are doing a fantastic job. For us, for the finalists, so we're excited to say that Jim is advancing to the semifinals. But thank you all so much for joining us. Connie, thank you for coming and joining me. This has
Yeah,
been
of
an
course.
absolute delight, and thanks for sharing your knowledge of this game and everything. So.
Of course, it's been a blast. Thanks so much for having me. This has been lovely.
All right, well, tune back to the next live stream is going to be tomorrow morning, where Johnny Christmas is going to be presenting the rings and the Phoenix Prize and everything. So tune back for that in the morning. But until then, thanks for joining. My name is Chris Yeh.
I'm Connie Vogelman.
We'll take care.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vassell. Thanks for watching this video. Check out our channel. We have a lot of videos on our channel. We have live videos that go up each week, from live Q&As to videos where we take a look at the newest stuff on Kickstarter, crowd surfing, to top 10 lists and more. There's lots of stuff on this channel. We encourage you to explore it. You can find out more at our website, dicetower.com. I'm Tom Vassell. Thanks for watching another video on the Dice Tower.